Welcome back to the Comics Aficionados right here on Think Critical Patreon or YouTube. We're on YouTube right now. We're safe sound. The storm is traversing north. We're getting just the outskirts of it. So the worst case scenario, at least here, has been averted. But we do have a lot of people that are being affected by the super typhoon. I think it's Pepito coming through right now. So definitely keep those people in your thoughts and prayers. But we got an awesome comic book panel to talk about. Basically, new comic books. Not a whole lot of news, but we did have some newsworthy comics to get into. And Aaron Sparrow, you went to the Skybound Image G.I. Joe the movie premiere for G.I. Joe #1 and got the exclusive comic book?
Right there, baby.
Bam. That thing is selling for $800 on fucking eBay right now.
Yeah, 800 to 1,000. I've seen it. This is
That is a lot of Mythic Legions.
It is indeed. This is an homage to the G.I. Joe the movie poster by Tony Fleece. Apparently, it is the most rare Skybound comic ever, as far as print runs go. So,
are you selling it?
Pretty crazy.
Damn right he is.
Yeah, well, I think I'm considering right now. Do I get it graded and then sell it, or do I sell it right now?
Just strike while the iron's hot.
Grading's not doing anything right now.
Yeah, I think so.
Man.
I already graded it myself. That is easily a 9.8 though.
So did you like the event? Was it cool? It looked like
really
it was
cool. I mean, okay, we were supposed to get to see that G.I. Joe movie on the big screen when I was a kid. And it didn't happen because Transformers came out first and traumatized an entire generation of children with the death of Optimus Prime.
Yes.
So Hasbro got nervous. They pulled it. They had to re-edit some dialogue to not kill Duke. So at the end, it's just like, like now Scarlet goes, he's in a coma. And then at the end, like Doc just comes in. He's going to be A-okay. And everybody, yo, Joe. So it was great to see it on the big screen. It was a really good time. You do kind of learn at these Q&As why a lot of comic professionals would have trouble doing a YouTube channel or branching out beyond comics, because the personalities are just not that dynamic. And I was a little worried during the Q&A because guys have if you've ever been to a comic book panel, sometimes it just doesn't work because people in the audience are too afraid to ask questions, or they, so it's like I was asking questions that I had no interest in and already knew the answer to, and gave them an out so they didn't have to answer, just to kind of keep it lively. I'm like, yeah, Kirkman, I know you can't answer this, but you guys gonna do anything with Mask or I don't know, humanoids or cops or whatever it was that I asked. And he's like, yeah, I'm glad that you give me an out with your question, so I can just say I can't say. But it was at least keeping the conversation going. But no, it was a lot of fun, and they gave away the comic, which is great. Like I said, beautiful Tony Fleece cover. I'm actually a little sad to part with it, but $800 is $800. And they gave away Hasbro was giving away free toys. So we got to the table, and they had one set of the Cobra Valkyries, which are like the female Cobra troopers, and then they had one snow job. And my buddy was like, "Oh, I know which one I want," and I was ahead of him in line. There were two people ahead of me. And there's that one set of Valkyries there, and the guy in front of me is like, and he's looking at the Valkyries, and he's looking at the rest of the table, and the girl makes eye contact with me, and I go, "Can I get that right there?" And he hands me the Valkyries. She hands me the Valkyries, and this guy's like, "Oh," and then my buddy he goes. I was like, "Oh, cool. At least Aaron got him." And then I immediately just went, "Here you go," and handed it back to him, and then was like, I'll take the Pulse exclusive snow job, which I already have, but I can make more snow gear Joes.
So it was a big thing. It looked like there was a bunch of dorks there. You ran into Jeremy Adams, writer of Green Lantern.
I did.
I think Dennis Culver was there in attendance.
Yep, I didn't see him, but I did run into Jeremy over at Things from Another World before the show, and had a nice conversation with him, and then chatted with him a little bit before the movie, and in the theater, and then afterwards. He is such a nice guy. So not only is he DC's best writer going right now, but he's just a really good guy. So if you guys are, even if you guys are signed out on DC, signed out on the big two, I would definitely say check out his Green Lantern. It's really good. Check out his Aquaman when it comes out. This is a guy that should be elevated at DC. They continue to double down on guys like Mark Waid and Tom Taylor and Tom King who hate your guts. Jeremy Adams is a nice guy who cares about the fans, who cares about the characters, and he deserves your support.
Man, he has Green Lantern come out too. Yeah, so they are starting to elevate him a little, which is good.
Yeah. No, they need to, because the guy knows what he's doing.
All right, Sparrow, I'm going to put you to the test. What are the chances that you're willing to give that comic book away to one of our amazing Things Critical viewers live right here on the Comics Aficionados.
I said okay.
Sorry, man. I'm trying to fund a comic book right now. I need all of the money that I can get. So
the bid starts at 800.
Yeah. So you said it's a lot of Mythic Legions, but do you know it's a couple of pages from Renzo for Kneel Before Doomface? So I got to go that route.
So Dylan, I know that you saw this as well, where people were saying there's nothing really good going out of DC, and if you believe that, then go look at Marvel. But Green Lantern is easily the best thing out of DC right now.
Green Lantern's amazing right now. What he's doing is really good.
This week was awesome.
It was great, and I'm happy that seeing Green Lantern. I was worried when I saw Green Lantern Corps announced. It's like, oh no, is the HAL book canceled? Are they just moving on to this? But no, that's still going on. So I'm glad that we're getting both books going on at the same time. I'm a little worried about that, but
I was surprised they gave him let him write both books. But I'm all for it. You have one Hal Jordan book, then you got the other one with all the other lanterns.
Yeah,
good with it.
I think it's good. I think it's a good idea because I like the more HAL focused books, especially in the past when we had Green Lantern Corps. That tends to be my cup of tea. So I'm glad they're keeping that around.
But have you noticed the DC's kind of ticking up?
Yes, since All In, I will say I've noticed that DC's gotten better. I've liked what we've got. The 3 pages of Green Arrow we got for the new writer was interesting. I like Nightwing. I've loved Batman and Robin. I think Batman and Robin's actually probably my favorite from the All In books, and Green Lantern's been great. And Absolute's actually been decent from the 2 out of 3 ain't bad for Absolute books. So DC's been pretty good. Yeah,
the Batman and Robin this week, especially, I was like, I really like what he's doing with Damian, making him fail and having to deal with it and kind of lashing out and not just thinking about, my grandfather raised, but maybe I need to understand who my grandfather Thomas was.
Yeah, giving him Thomas's journal is really interesting, and having him completely fail after being just a dickhead to that little girl in the first issue, and then just failing this issue with her. It's like, yeah, it's really interesting. And Philip Kennedy Johnson, I think, is one of the best writers at DC. He consistently does great stuff.
Yeah, very nice. And you're the big action sports guy. You like the UFC and all that stuff. But you're the only person besides me, I guess, that decided to skip out on the Mike Tyson fight on Netflix.
I don't need to see Mike Tyson get beat up by Jake Paul, and also the pacing of boxing cards is atrocious. It's an hour in between fights. It takes each fighter an hour to get to the ring because they have to do their showmanship. I hate it. Give me MMA. They just run out. It takes 5 minutes to get to the ring. There's 15 minutes in between fights. So much better. Boxing cards, pacing's horrible.
Did you ever watch the Pride Fighting Championships in Japan?
Yeah.
They made UFC look very, very boring because as soon as the one fight was over and the guy was exiting, the music went off and the next fighter came in. I was like, this is how you do it. You got 12 fights in one card. It's great.
Yeah, it'd be nice if more fighting promotions did that. But all things considered, UFC ain't too bad with that, especially compared to boxing. Boxing is the worst.
You know what the worst is? I had WWE Network or whatever. And because they have a free version on the cock and they have to do advertisements on it, you just get 10 minutes of spammy bullshit in between each wrestling match on pay-per-views now. I couldn't take it. I got rid of it. I was like, fuck this.
So you don't even get to see what's going on. They show you ads.
No, they were showing you promos. Yes.
That sucks.
From stuff that isn't even happening. I was like, this, I can't take it.
Oof.
Yeah. Streaming might end up being the death of live sports. They got to have a free version with all these stupid commercials for all of them.
That's looking like what every single one of them has now.
Yeah.
And this is, didn't we call this with streaming? We said eventually it's going to get to a point where you're going to get ads anyway, whether you like it or
it's just going to be cable.
And
yeah.
It's just
it's just going to turn into cable
with more steps.
With nothing bundled together.
Yeah.
One cheap package. So how's everything going on the channel, Dylan? Is there anything people need to know about as far as videos or streams or games that you're playing right now?
Yeah, just a video on the first 2 issues of Absolute Batman. So that's going up today using the someone made an Absolute Batman skin in Arkham Knight because people are always making mods for that. So I use that and that looks pretty cool. So that video will be going up shortly today.
Did they make him taller and wider?
Not really. They weren't able to do that, but they gave him the fat ass bat symbol and the suit looks the same, and he's got the belt and all that. So the suit looks the same, but yeah, he's the same size. But he was already pretty big in Arkham Knight. He's already a pretty big boy. So
I wish that they could mod the dialogue to be as bad as the dialogue in Absolute Batman 2.
We will be getting to Absolute Batman #2. We've also got Jim. Jim, I don't think you almost died this week, but you did have a medical issue.
Yeah.
You basically look like what people might imagine if you took Cobra Commander's mask off. That's what you look like. You're full of boils all over your
and that's
body.
normal. I mean, and then this week, I got shingles this week, and again, I say these things and nobody believes me because it's like nobody could have this bad of luck, but I do. I hear like
luck.
These are the pills I have to take, and you can tell they're like horse pills. They make me all dizzy and tired and stuff like that, which I am right now. So yeah, I have no luck at all.
Jim just wandering around the house.
I am. Yes. The thing is, though, again, I don't leave the house barely at all, and this stuff happens. But I had chickenpox as a kid, so everybody has it in them. It's like the Walking Dead virus. We are all the chickenpox, and yeah, it sucks. It really knocked
Jim
me out.
sent me a picture, which doesn't happen all that often. I was like, oh my God, you look like a leper.
Yeah.
Are you going to lose a finger? What's falling off of you right now?
It's bad. It is pretty bad. Everything, including my pride. But yeah, it sucks. It's just my whole body's on fire, and it's the worst. But here I am.
But the good news is, pound for pound, this is a good new comic book week. At least you had some comics get you through it.
Yeah. It ended up where I was dizzy reading them, but I did enjoy a lot. And some of the better ones, including, say, G.I. Joe, one of the better issues I've read in quite some time. So I did have a lot of fun this week. You thought that I had the hives. I had to delay our Patreon show, and I get on with you on Friday because we usually record Thursday, and you're like, what the hell's wrong with you? Just take a Benadryl. I'm like, well, what? Like come on. I'm like, I don't think you know what shingles is. It's not what you think. And he's like, I had it, but you said I had it. They gave me a Benadryl. I'm like, no, that's hives. That's something. So for a whole 24-hour period, you were like, what a jerk. Like, this guy can't record because he got a little bit of the hives. And actually, when I said to you, I'd
got no heart.
I told you, I'm like, I can't do it today. I can do it tomorrow. And you're like, whatever. I hope you feel better. It's like, oh my goodness gracious.
No, I was being serious there, but because that notification came in late, and there's another thing that I would normally do on Friday, I had to move it up a day, and I had to produce 2 videos I would have done on Friday and send it out to the editor guy that helps me.
The trouble. I was planning on doing it. I'm like, I'm just gonna power through it. I couldn't even read that day, so here we are. Boom.
We had a good time. There were some good books out there, but you're still making dirty songs. You're
dirty songs.
The grind.
Yeah. That's kind of tailed off a little. I actually got a community strike, but that is the the life of a dirty song man is you're walking on thin ice. The whole time,
can't be saying the N-word in your songs, Jim.
No,
you don't have that pass.
Well, when you're gonna parody like an NWA song, it's trouble. But yeah, actually, I mean, I could even say all it was penis, and I'm like, really? And I ended up fighting it, and I lost because they don't care. So yeah, I have a strike, but then
I thought you could curse in the name of comedy.
You can.
Penis isn't even a curse word.
Penis.
That's the medical term.
It said put your penis in me. Then what I did then when you get a strike like that, you have to do like an online course. You have to go on, and it's like, and the thing is, they'll give you the answer. They just want you to go. I still was such an idiot. I keep pressing the wrong thing, and it's telling me. But it said you can't have insertion with pleasure. Is what it said. So the problem is in the song, the lady was having a good time with it.
So you're having a bad time with it, you can do it?
Exactly. I guess it said insertion with pleasure. So
I guess that Uncle Jeff song is off the table, Jim.
Yeah. People.
It's too bad.
My uncle who used to try to pull my pants down. He was slow. He was, but he was slow in the mind, but fast in the fingers. That guy. He was chasing me. Guy was always chasing me. That was the worst. But yeah, that's on our Patreon. You can hear that. I ended up with so goofy with this medicine. I was letting all the stories out.
We had a good time with it.
Yeah, we did. Through the tears.
Absolutely. But any videos people need to talk about?
Yeah,
I got a Spider-Man video up. I saw Absolute Batman.
Yep, I actually this morning put up my Absolute Batman #2. We had a live stream I'm not the most tech savvy guy, I'll tell you. And again, I'm having issues. So we had the live stream review of Batman. I get done and I'm like just going about, I realized I never did close down the stream. So the video and the thing actually ended up being 9 hours long. And well, I went back to it and I'm like, well, what's going on? Because I'm trying to like move it around and whatnot. And I look, there's some guy who's just there for like 7 hours. The guy just kept saying, what's going on here? And then an hour later, what's going on here? Finally, I got on. I'm like, I'm really sorry, but I'm going to shut this down now. Like, this
You waited 7 hours.
Like, I'm so mad. And I don't know what he thought was going on. I mean, if he listened, the show ended, but then it just kept going. And yeah, so I ended up putting up an edit.
Number one fan.
Yeah, really. I wish that it was like super chat glorious, like, you know, what's going on is what he would say. But yeah, so that was kind of goofy.
Well, knowing Jim and his history, the guy might have thought like he died on stream.
It might have been. That's the thing. He's like waiting. He's listening for sirens.
Yeah.
He's like,
listen to my
listen to my
It feels
kids
like I
as
hear
they
a
move my
struggle.
body. They move my body to get to my wallet. That's what they're doing. But yeah. So yeah, it's the longest live stream I've ever done. It was great.
That's not true. Well, it wasn't a live stream.
Live
We used
stream.
to do 12-hour podcasts.
Yeah, we had 12-hour podcasts every week for at least a year and a half. And yeah, we've never missed a week on our regular.
And you didn't record it in 6 2-hour sessions.
No,
it was
no,
12
it was
hours.
Real. Yeah.
Oh my
we
gosh.
actually started at 7 at night and it went till 7 in the morning. And it was during the New 52. There were tons of books. So we were trying to do every book. And I swear, if I could find the one episode, as the sun was rising, I literally started crying that we were still recording. And we went through all the time frames there and it was depressing. But yeah.
Jim was a man ahead of his times.
Yeah.
We've also
really.
got returning Nandor Fox Shaffer, the man behind Man Child. Now fully funded on Kickstarter. Can people still back this book?
They can actually. So I enabled Kickstarter has this new fancy function where you can enable late pledges. So even if the campaign is over, it only goes into effect if the campaign funds. But so you can still pick up. You can't get any of the like special rewards or variant covers or anything like that, but you can get the basic tiers and get the first 3 issues. So that's still live, and people can pick up Man-Child if they want to on Kickstarter. I'll probably keep it open for a few more weeks, and then I want to let everyone know that I'll be launching my next campaign early next year for the new trade paperback editions of my first 2 graphic novels, Seasons Volumes 1 and 2. They've only ever been released as hardcover kind of collector's editions, but I'm going to do kind of a trade paperback mass market edition that I'll be launching on Kickstarter early next year. So both are over 100 pages. It was the first story that I ever wrote, so I'm really excited to revisit it. And the artist and I, Anthony, we're going to be working on Volume 3. It's a series that I've kind of put to the side, the back burner, as I've been working on Man-Child and other books that I've been cranking out. So it's going to be a lot of fun to get back to the series because it's a supernatural slice of life kind of drama, and it follows Fletcher, who with every passing season his abilities change. So it's a really kind of cool, grounded superhero story, but no costumes. It's just a kind of a late coming of age story with Fletcher there. So I'm excited to bring that back.
Very nice. There's a link in the video description if you're interested in checking out Man-Child #3, fully funded, but available to back afterwards. How's everything going on in Columbia, Missouri? It's been obviously a while. I'll be in Missouri here at the midpoint of next year. Is Missouri handling it out okay?
Yeah, we're doing okay. We always have the bipolar weather, so like it'll be hot for a few days and then it just totally sinks and we're in the 30s. So we're entering wintertime here, and it's cozy though. We're doing well. And yeah, what that'll be cool. So where are you going to be in Missouri?
I will be in the greater Kansas City area with my brother.
Awesome.
That's basically where I'm from, around the St. Joe area.
Well, that's awesome. Maybe we should meet up. That'd be cool.
Absolutely. We could definitely get that thing going. And whenever anybody would ask me, like, what's the weather like in Missouri? I was like, it's literally the worst of everything. In the summer, it's 100 degrees with 95% humidity. And in the winter, it's 20 below with frostbite.
Yeah. Yeah, my allergies suck here. There was one time where I went to LA and all my allergies were gone because of the dry heat. Like it was just like I could breathe again. But Missouri is just so humid, and the spring and
Just go to
summertime
Colorado.
can be
Very dry.
no. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Very nice. So, Jim, people are saying that you need to eat more lemons.
They think I have scurvy. What am I, a pirate? I'm an old English sailor here.
Possibly.
Hello,
Maybe
love.
you need salt.
Oh,
Get
no.
rid of the rickets.
Yeah, get the salt. Yeah, I don't need that. That's that would be trouble. Yeah, you just it's if you had the chicken pox or
right.
the vaccination. It's just there. So get off my back, people. The idea again, they're right though. I do need to eat more fruits and vegetables. So they're right on in a different way. But you know, who needs that? I have like lettuce on a hamburger. That's a salad. Right?
Very nice.
Mhm.
So, Sparrow, we obviously just talked about Man-Child 3. We didn't mention Kneel Before Doomface, which is fully funded but still going on in Kickstarter as well. Are you going to do what Nandor did, where you're going to leave the campaign open until it's completely done?
We will have a we're going to do in demand. We're definitely going to do that, but obviously the higher it goes, the better it gets for everybody. Like right now, we're unlocking stickers. I was looking at a lot of campaigns, and there's campaigns that'll be like, we fund at $10,000, and then at $20,000 you get a sticker, and it's like, really, like $10,000 to get a sticker? So what we're trying to do is we're trying to do something at every tier in between $10,000 and $11,000. So right now we're unlocking stickers. So far, everybody's unlocked the Notorious KID and Iggy sticker, and then they just unlocked the Lexi sticker the other day, and we're on our way to unlocking the Doomface sticker. So there's other tiers that are going to be added. You're going to be able to get a Colonel Silverstreak sticker. You're going to be able to we're looking at like doing trading cards, and then we want to get up to the point where I think at around 22,000 we add 24 more pages. So that's really kind of like what we're aiming for. A lot of people said that we, shot ourselves in the foot because, your books aren't like all $30. You've got like $10 tiers and you've got $20 tiers, and we had a $15 tier, especially with the VIP specials. But this is not as your boy Zach would say a cultural war bond. This is a book that's meant to be read. So we wanted to have multiple levels of buy-in for people. But it has just made, the campaign is doing well. We're over 200. We're at 280 backers right now. But it's just the money's a little bit slower because people are coming in at lower tiers. So we're just hoping that word of mouth continues to spread, and that people get excited and maybe grab some of those. Just grab a couple books or grab some of the higher tiers so that we can increase the value of everybody's physical contribution.
Very nice. There's also a link in the video description for Kneel Before Doomface at Kickstarter as well. Last but not least, we do have the DOC, or DOK, I guess. Doc and I already reviewed ASM 61, which we're about to talk about in depth. How you doing, Doc?
I am spectacular, man. I am doing wonderful. I'm happy to be here. It's a disgustingly cold and fucking rainy Saturday morning in Pittsburgh, because
Soup weather.
of course it is. And this is what it's like this time of year. And I'm fucking tired because I was one of those people that was retarded enough to sit up and watch that glorified slap fight that they called a boxing match last night. Now the women, that ladies fight was fucking awesome. Amanda Serrano got robbed, but all right, whatever. But no, I'm doing good. It's a wonderful day to be sitting inside on a stream rather than being anywhere outside in Pittsburgh weather today.
Absolutely.
I actually went to a new.
Whoops.
I went to a comic book shop this week, and I bought a new comic. I bought.
So you got G.I. Joe #1.
Yes. Have not read it yet. I bought it yesterday.
Well,
So,
you're going to be very happy when you get to that bad boy. It was very, very good. Let's give a little shout out to the Thinking Critical backers. If you support us on Thinking Critical Patreon, you get a superhero name, you get a shout out, you get a city to protect, and obviously you get access to lots of extra podcasts and bonus videos. So first up, thank you very much to Timothy Vocha, aka Thunderline, the protector of Shockstone. Really appreciate you support the channel. Really appreciate Dan Battles coming back to Thinking Critical Patreon. The Battle Master himself, the protector of Chicago. We've also got Big Sean 187, also known as Maximus Slam, protecting the people of Colossus City. Jonathan Spain also returning to Thinking Critical Patreon. The Sidewalk Savior is the protector of Alley-Side. And finally, we do have Michael coming aboard, the Shadow Slayer himself, and he is the protector of Crystal Lake. And if you decide you would like to also support us on Thinking Critical Patreon, there's a link in the video description. You can support Nader, you can support obviously Aaron, you can support myself all there. All the links that you will ever need are in there. And if you like Sus Records and Dirty Songs, there's also a link to Jim's Dirty Song record label.
Please. I can afford some fruits and vegetables then.
Yeah, he needs to buy
Some lemons. Yeah,
Lemons. Yeah.
get rid of the scurvy.
My scurvy. Yeah. I'm on the 7 C's, I am.
Oh, very nice. So let's hear for the people's. Lane Kramer says, why is Spider-Man wearing a costume that looked like Chasm rejected because it made him look stupid? Doom has better fashion sense, Nick Lowe. Not.
It's a bad costume. It looks like he grabbed the hood off the hood and grabbed the Beyond costume from Ben Reilly. It's bad.
It's got too much pop collar on it.
Yeah.
It's trying to be Sorcerer Supreme kind of thing, but I don't know.
Yeah, it's weird.
You know what? I don't hate the color scheme on it. The like gray with
more
the
silver.
red. Yeah. I don't hate it. I'm surprised that I don't hate it, but I don't hate it. I don't know why. I'll give it time to hate it.
Yes.
So you think Lane Kramer's full of it and you like the costume?
I think it's not a bad. I don't think it is far from the worst Spider-Man costume we've had. I mean, it could have been.
Wasn't there an orange one in the Beyond era?
No, it was before the Beyond era where he got that orange and gray one from J. Jonah Jameson. That tech one that had like cameras and shit built in because he was working for, or he was being paid by Jonah's website.
Yeah, it sucked.
That was a fucking terrible costume. All the spider armor ones. Most of the costumes created during the Slot era were pretty terrible.
Yeah, they should just stick with his original. That's the one that really works. Adam Frey says, how badly do we all need an action figure of Starscream fused to a his tank?
That'd be funny.
It would be good.
Yeah.
See, Doc isn't reading Transformers. He doesn't even know what we're talking about.
No, but I can imagine, and it sounds wonderful.
Man, it's too bad Aaron Sparrow's not here. He's obviously the toy guy that's got more his tanks than you could have possibly imagined. And Doc, you've been the one enabling Aaron to get his hands on all these his tanks.
I did. I kind of might have sent him 3. Now they're just the his 3s, so they're the small ones. But I always had like an excess of them last year, so I bought him a bunch of fucking his tanks. And
very nice.
I have 2.
Nerds.
You probably just need to get a blowtorch and your his tank and Starscream and
just
go at it. And there you go.
So Dylan, you refuse to read Transformers. Now that you found out that Starscream and a his tank have combined, does it make you more interested in Transformers?
That sounds cool, but no, I still don't really care to read Transformers. I have no interest in
these fucking Zoomers, man. They're all posers.
I just don't care about Transformers.
Ask Aaron now. He's back.
Sparrow, are you considering putting Starscream and fusing it to a his tank now that we got it in the comic books this week? Uh-oh.
Oh, well.
Someone's muted.
Yes, sir. I'm doing it now.
If anything, Starscream should be a Sky Striker, but like right now, if hitting Ross's around the country, you can get the Dreadnought Thunder Machine, and that transforms into Soundwave. So hit your Ross stores if you got them.
Did you read this week's Transformers yet?
No, I'm done with Transformers because I think I might be done with Daniel Warren Johnson.
Oh,
Uh-oh.
What did he do to you?
Well, I mean, I understand that people are upset about the election, but I think that when you say that people who didn't vote the way that you did lack basic goodness and humanity, I think I'm pretty much done with you.
He did a Rachel Ziegler.
He did indeed.
That broad never wants her movie to come out, by the way. I'm absolutely convinced of it.
she
She just
actually
doesn't want that fucking movie coming out.
She did apologize, or they made her apologize. I don't know.
They made her
but-
apologize.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, like, what good is a coerced apology? Like, you didn't learn anything. You don't mean it. Like, you said what you meant, and you know what? Honestly, you should stand by what you said. If that's the way you feel, if that's the way everybody feels, if they feel that you are despicable because you don't hold the same belief system as, or for whatever reason you voted differently than they do, and they want to come out and they want to say that, and they want to say that they think that you suck. You should say that, but then you should stand by it and you should take the consequences of it, which is, okay, well, I don't need to give you my money.
Well, here's the problem. The people that come out and say stuff like that, they're already moral cowards. So their willingness to be let's just say guilted or forced into making apologies is just another demonstration of their moral cowardice.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, there you go. Apparently, there's a response to that one. But this was actually a good week this week, and it sucks that you didn't get to read that one, but it was fun. We got Lane Kramer. Man, no comic giveaway. I've given away $1,900 worth of merchandise for 2 channels. I'm on this year like a big-time fool. Do not be me, Aaron Sparrow.
Well, Lane, I mean, if you want to buy this copy of G.I. Joe from me, and then you want to turn around and give it away,
discount.
I'm down,
Including shipping.
So if people want to buy it from me direct, are you going to throw it in like the little the cardboard box that makes sure so they don't get bent and stuff?
Oh, I'll go get it a nice I'll go get a nice case. I'll package it up for them. I'll do it really nice. Actually, I've got when we finish Aficionados today, I've got to finish off all the website orders of like the New York Comic Con exclusives and get those shipped. Because with the campaign and everything, like it just threw me way behind. I've been part of campaigns before, but I've never done my own campaign. And even with Murphy doing the heavy lifting, it's a lot of work.
Aaron's already going to need to have like 1 million Gemini mailers to mail off all the copies of Kneel Before Doomface, so might as well just start buying them now.
I mean, that would be amazing. Like I said, we have 280 backers. Some of those are digital, but still, it's going to be a good amount of copies. I hope by the time we're done, and then we'll keep it in demand. We'll keep it going, and then we'll do a second chance offer. I might do a new cover when we get to that point. Who knows? So fingers crossed. I know that there's a million different great projects out there. Like we said, we got Manchild. We were talking about Alpha Red. We've got HH. I put the Fund My Comic link in there, but I've got to put the Kickstarter link because that's actually where the action is. You've got Lepresti's Wraith of God. There's so many good projects. Black and White, which I co-wrote with Art Taber, is out right now. So just tons and tons of stuff to spend your money on. So we appreciate all of you guys. We know that everybody's stretched really thin.
And also, if you're unaware, Lane Kramer is not only just a fan of the channel, he's a contributor to 2 other channels that are focusing primarily on toys. So if you ask him, maybe he'll tell you the name of the channel. You can go check him out. But if you like the toy stuff, you have a kindred spirit in Lane Kramer. He and Aaron cannot quit each other at this point.
We talk toys.
Absolutely. Kalichioki, people were betting on Tyson to beat Paul. Initially didn't disagree, but back in my head, I was like, Tyson's old. Was this whole event staged? Well, it was a spectacle. I don't know. I imagine the fighting was real enough.
I don't think so. I think it was fixed.
I don't think 58-year-old Mike Tyson can beat up somebody that's actually trained to be a boxer.
I think the farthest it was staged was Jake decided not to knock him out. I think he decided I'm gonna
because
carry
he's knocked out like
decision.
5 or 6 actual fighters.
Yeah.
So, man, I don't know why everyone was throwing money on Tyson. I thought that was crazy, but it still didn't move the needle enough for me to actually go pay attention. I knew what was going to happen. I
mean,
did expect him kind of get knocked out though.
Paul had a 4-inch reach on him, so the odds of him staying out of Tyson's knockout range.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he's 58. He probably doesn't have knockout range anymore.
I don't know, man. Would you take a Tyson punch to test that theory?
I'm not a trained boxer.
For the money, I'd do it. I'd be like, all right, I'm going to take one for the team. He may punch me retarded, but I'm going to go for it.
Yeah, I'm sure he could still do some damage for a 58-year-old man, but it's, this dude is while he's not world class, he is a professional boxer that's knocked out a bunch of MMA fighters.
And he's 27 compared to Tyson.
They're probably on roids.
Oh, definitely.
HGH. All that good stuff. James Hannafin. GC just can't quit destroying Wally West. His new costume is the ugliest, stupidest thing I've ever seen. Absolutely no reason for the change. Well, you can blame Dylan. That costume's for you. It's the next generation of Wally fans.
I didn't ask for this, and I'm more of a Barry fan than the Wally fans. This ain't my fault. Blame someone else.
So was he talking about the Wally West, like with the plugs in his ears and the mullet? That's going to be absolute Wally West, or is he talking about the one with the black?
The new black deal, yeah.
The new black one. Oh, yeah, that one is ugly. It doesn't look good.
No, I haven't seen that one.
For what has happened to Wally, having a little black on the costume, that's the least of your worries. At least he's not murdering people or doing shit like that.
I'll take black on the costume before.
Yeah, I think I'll take that instead of blood. Yeah, exactly.
Or serial killer, Wally West.
Yeah.
I don't know, Dylan. Who do you think had it worse? Was it Wally West, or do you think Arsenal had it worse?
I think Wally had it worse because at least Arsenal just died compared to Wally killed everyone.
He didn't just die. He had his arm ripped off, and he had his daughter murdered right in front of him.
I thought you were talking about in context of Heroes in Crisis. Yeah.
Oh no, I'm talking about in context of Forever.
Arsenal's had it real rough, but I still think Wally being set up as prior to all the retcons happening, being he just kind of busted and everyone died.
And
then he felt real
10 years before that, right? He was the poster child of Rebirth, and then they did that. Even before that, in that Titans deal, remember Damien gave him a heart attack. He had a bunch of shit happen to him before that as well. So there was problems.
Yeah, I think Wally's had it a bit worse. Even though what happened to Arsenal was horrible, but at least Arsenal's character himself kind of still stayed intact. For Wally, it was kind of trying to bit more character assassination with Wally.
Yeah, plus Wally had to be written by Tom King, for a major character. So I think that's probably
that was rough. That was rough.
Yeah.
And he got kneed in the nuts by Harley. So
there's no getting that Tom King stain out.
No. That's a.
They've done a pretty good job, all things considered.
Yeah.
If you just ignore that Tom King ever happened, which I think is what you should do.
The best way to,
like his dad did.
Oh my God.
Take that, Tom King. You jerk.
Oh my goodness. He's got rickets, everybody. He can't control it.
I got the scurvies.
Federico De La Casa, Spider-Man's costume reminds me of Web of Spider-Man, 100 armor with the red scarf. Perhaps that's why Doc doesn't hate it. Just watched Transformers 1. Was good. I also just watched Transformers 1 with my boys, and I would say great. Loved it.
Yep.
Really enjoyed that. Even the little jokes that didn't work in the trailer work in the movie.
Yeah, they should really fire whoever cut that trailer together, because I think that soured a lot of people. Even when we watched the trailer, we're like, oh, this doesn't look good. But the movie was recommended to me by somebody that saw it early, and they said, I thought of you the whole time I was watching this. It was Sparrow's really going to enjoy this. And I went, and I absolutely loved it.
So I put it on. Obviously, the boys were watching everything. And my wife came up to me an hour later. She's like, what is this? I was like, that's Transformers 1. She's like, that is amazing. I was like, yes, I did marry the perfect woman.
That's awesome.
So what do you think about the Web of Spider-Man 100 armor with the red scarf? Is there some validity here to what Federico's saying there, Doc?
I think it's probably not entirely wrong. I didn't like the giant lacrosse knee pad things that he had on that web of that armor, but again, it wasn't maybe it's a little bit of that vibe. Maybe that's the reason why I don't hate it. I don't know. I think that might be some validity to that, though.
Yeah, it's not all new to you. You already went through this. Topic reviews. Heyo, Comics Aficionados cast. I recommend getting Studio Series 86 Optimus Prime. Also going back to Doomface, and Aaron needs to go on the CG King show by EVS as a guest to promote. Hope you all have a great day. Godspeed, gents. Are you on the Studio Series 86 Optimus Prime?
I'm all about that Studio Series 86 Optimus Prime. Are you kidding me? I love all the Studio
You've already got your order in?
Yeah, man. Look, I pick up stuff all the time. I don't put in a lot of pre-orders. I'm very fortunate in the fact that there's huge toy shows near me. There are, there's like a million Targets and Walmarts. So, I pretty much find everything at retail, or I get it cheaper than retail through various people that I deal with. So I generally don't have to pre-order unless it's an exclusive. I'll tell you what is arriving today is if you guys are into Marvel Legends, the Amazon exclusive Odin went on sale for Christmas. So you can pick that thing up for about $35. And I had a gift card.
Is it comic book Odin or is it MCU Odin though?
It's MCU Odin.
Oh, there you go.
He's a beefy boy.
So what about more appearances? Are you going to be out there spreading your wings, getting the word out about Kneel Before Doomface?
Yeah, I'm going on as many shows as I can, as many places that have invited me. I've got a ton of stuff lined up. I don't even know what their audiences are, but people are reaching out and saying, "Do you want to come on?" I'm like, "Absolutely." I mean, I've never been somebody who's like, "I don't know, how many followers do you have?" Like, I'll go on a channel that's got 3 people watching.
You told me you wouldn't come on my channel until I had 10,000.
That is not true. I told you that. It's funny. I don't know if you guys remember this, but years ago, I was Wes just started interacting with me on Twitter about some subject, and I was like, "Oh, dude, I watch your channel," and he was like, "Really? You want to come on?" And I was like, "Yeah." That's how it happened.
Oh, there you go. So we should seeing Aaron around, making the waves on the YouTubes and getting the word out. So keep an eye out for that, and let your friends know about Kneel Before Doomface. Baja Cat, one of the awesome Patreon backers that we have. It seems like Paul's entire role is literally just to keep MJ and Peter apart. If Marvel wants to make amends, he needs to be taken out horrifically. Now, Jim, you took offense to the mentions of Paul by Nick Lowe this week.
Yeah,
I think he thinks it's funny.
Yeah. Oh, he thinks it's hilarious. He's a dick. He ends up it's the worst. I mean, he knows people hate the character and thinks it's funny that it's endearing that, oh, look, I'm making jokes about this character that everybody hates. People probably hate him more than Paul, but Paul's just, he's not a character. That's my biggest problem, is that he does nothing. He's not, it's just bad. But yeah, he tweeted out and said what, oh, you Paul, what was it? Paulites or whatever. There's a stupid deal, and he's like, "Don't worry, the best character in comics will be Bex," and it's just ridiculous.
The threat.
He thinks it's funny but really all he does is insult people and just act like a jerk. So
he thinks he's so cute and so delightful and so clever. He's just so amused by himself.
Yeah, and in that, he had a tweet for this issue. Every time Amazing Spider-Man comes out, he says, "Oh, it's the book of the week." Really, we're gonna believe you. But the idea, he's like, you better not read it if you're operating heavy machinery. And
it's going to put you to sleep.
Yeah, that's what I said. I said, you actually just hyped a book by saying it's going to put you to sleep. You're not even good at this. You're terrible. It was ridiculous. But he's Nick Lowe being Nick Lowe.
You know what? I'm going to have Doomface kill Paul. I've just decided.
That'd be awesome.
Boom. Yeah. Bonus 24 pages.
Yep.
This is 24 pages of Paul getting ripped.
20,000.
But the question is, what version of Paul? Arnold Schwarzenegger Paul? Sean King Paul? James Tynion Paul?
Yeah.
Which version? Or is he gonna? Are you gonna have him kill and just be really confused about why he can't? Why it's always the same guy, but he always looks completely different.
Yes.
No, I'm gonna have him just be shocked that Paul just keeps every time he kills one, that body splits open and another one comes out like a Russian nesting doll. He has to just keep killing him over and over again.
Very nice. Dion says Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul was basically Rocky 6.
Except for Rocky, actually put up a fight and threw punches. And connected with punches. Mike Tyson connected with 18 punches in 8 rounds.
Man, you seem like a guy
threw
that's really
97.
cheesed that he invested in this fight.
I am fucking pissed that I wasted
Okay.
my time.
Hey, you didn't waste your money. That's better.
You know what? I haven't flipped on Netflix in months, and I was perfectly happy with that. And then I did, and they wasted my fucking time.
Yeah, that's too bad. But you can watch the Chiefs versus Steelers on Netflix here next month. You get your money worth out of that one. That'll be good.
If they can keep their fucking servers together,
Doesn't
with
crash.
duct tape
Yeah.
and- fucking duct tape and super glue.
Retro Man says, any Spider-Man villains you guys want to see expanded on besides the usual villains? That is, not I have hope with that with the new writer.
I don't know if there's any that I want to see expanded on because I think that all of the good villains have basically had tons of stories over the years. I definitely.
Who do you want to see come back?
There's some that I'd like to see go away and never be used again. If
I would like to see Sandman go away.
I'd like to see Screwball go away.
Oh, Screwball's great.
Screwball
What about
sucks.
Elektra, or is it Girl Electra? What did?
It's still Electro.
Yeah, doesn't she have to be Electro? I want to see Electro be expanded on with the male Electro, the real Electro. I want to see him get that mask back.
Yes.
He
Instead
does
of
have
the
the mask
weird
back, doesn't
blue
he?
tattoo. No, he's had that stupid blue electric bolt tattoo covering his face for
Yeah.
like 10 years now. Since the Jamie Foxx movie.
So, Jim, would you like to see the villain Paul be expanded upon?
No.
He's
No,
been
not
villainous
at all.
enough. for 1
I'd
year.
like to see
Yeah.
him just expanded. Like
Yeah.
to tie him to four,
Yeah.
tie him to 4 fucking horses and have them all run in different directions.
You know, the villain that I'd like to see go away is Nick Lowe, honestly.
That's the villain, yeah. It needs to be God for good. Yeah, that's what happens when you got a character for 60 years. You probably need to introduce some new things. You know, are you guys
Sometimes when
interested
he-
in more Chasm if he's actually a villain?
Maybe I don't know. Chasm reminds me. I don't know.
It's
He's
Venom.
just- Yeah. He reminds me of Private American, actually.
It's
He reminds me of.
like dollar store Venom, though.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
Anybody who's a fan of Ben, it's sad because he just keeps anybody who starts anything, it just reverts back to him being mad at Peter, and he never, gets.
I
past
don't
that.
have a real life.
Yeah. I know my memories. Oh my
they
goodness.
they treat Ben Reilly like DC treats Wally West. It's really
Yeah.
depressing.
Yeah, but
He- He could have my
Zombie
memories.
reviews. He's also recommended DC versus Marvel Omnibus and Marvel's Godzilla Omnibus. They've been really fun reads lately. The boxing fight was a huge waste. Big mistake.
Yeah, I do want that Godzilla omnibus.
Are you going to be reading Godzilla Monster Piece Theater?
I don't know.
Tom Scioli, and it's Godzilla versus like Sherlock Holmes.
I have
that
the
doesn't-
Scioli.
That doesn't sound good.
Sounds so weird. How about Godzilla Skate or Die?
Is that a real thing?
Yeah.
Yes.
And maybe even he might, play basketball against Charles Barkley again.
Is he gonna
That'll
fight?
probably be max.
I don't know. Like Godzilla Skate or Die sounds like. What is he gonna be fighting? Like the cast of Maui and Sons or Big Wave Dave? From the '80s. Like
I assume it's
Rude
Skate or
Dog.
Die, the video game from Nintendo.
Oh man, Godzilla
Yeah,
versus Rude Dog and the Dweebs. Everybody get on board.
So you think Marvel Godzilla is better than IDW Godzilla?
I don't know that it's better. I just know that I have a lot of nostalgia for it because you got to see Godzilla going up against Shield.
Very nice. We've also got Dion West. You mentioned Walking Dead titles some videos ago. Does Batman and Robin count as one? It's the only Batman book outside the top 100. Well, it's not the only Batman book out of the top 100, but it was number 101, I believe. So yes, I guess Batman and Robin, the first issue with PKJ certainly would have been a dead title walking. We'll see if it gets a bounce up now that they've got a little bit of a momentum to go in. I thought the issue this week was good. But certainly it's not doing as well as you would expect for a Batman and Robin book. Even with Williamson on it there, Dylan. Kind of weird that he's like their A-list guy, and he had Batman and Robin outside the top 100.
Yeah, I think it's way better now that Philip K. Johnson's taken over. I've really enjoyed these first 2 issues and what he set it up, and the art's amazing as well. Like I'm really digging this book 2 issues in.
Williamson
Hopefully
Batman
more
and
people
Robin
pick it
had
up.
terrible artists that didn't ever made sense. That Simone DeMeo, an artist I like, not good for Batman.
Yeah, and occasionally they bring in, was it Juan Fajeda on there, and he did great, but he was only on for like 2 issues or something towards the end with that Bane Island arc. But yeah, the
well,
artist
before that it was like Nicholas Chemensky or whatever that guy is. That's like the manga guy. Yeah. It was a bad looking book. It looks much better now. We've got HH, the boys at Sigma Comics. Shout out to the Thinking Critical team. A legendary Mike lost last night. Another is just getting warmed up. Mike Barron writes, "Here comes Calico" on Kickstarter, calling all aficionados to support this great book. Absolutely. You go to Kickstarter, you check out Here Comes the Calico. Mike Barron with HH. It gets no better than that. We also got Manchild still available right now, fully funded, and we've got Deal Before Doomface. Lots of stuff popping on Kickstarter right now. Congratulations to HH, the team, and bringing Mike Barron aboard. That's absolutely awesome, dude. I know Mike has been a mentor for HH for quite some time, and I imagine it is basically a lifelong dream to get to work with him. Now, you, Fox, you got to work a dream. You got Steve Epting come in and do a fucking cover for you. That was pretty cool, too.
Heck yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, that's definitely a dream come true. And, I can't believe that happened. And it's one of those things that, as you're making your way through making comics and indie comics, you are trying to figure out, how you can climb the ladder or, meet with people that and collaborate with people that you admire. And it's a once in a lifetime dream for me to be able to work with someone like Steve Epting for Manchild. So that's awesome that Mike Barron got to work with HH there. That's cool to hear.
Yeah, and then Aaron was able to get Kenneth Rocafort working.
Yeah, that's the cover I backed. Actually, I got the Kenneth Rocafort cover, so I can't wait for that.
Yeah, everybody's basically getting to work with legends, and I think that's absolutely awesome that the industry's kind of changed that way. So definitely go support those guys. We've also got Federico De La Casa. I always think that's how you write and not what you write. I think as Spider-Man villains, even Hypno Hustler could be great, taking Crane after De Mateus. All right, Nandor, you're the writer. What do you think? Hypno Hustler? He's got the goods.
I don't know who that is. I'm not I'm not privy to Hypno Hustler, but he's
got a good name.
Yeah, like I mean, it's
you don't know Hypno Hustler? He's the crazy quilt of the Marvel universe.
He's got like a guitar. Oh, it looks great.
Yeah, well, I mean, I do agree that, you can take the most obscure, wildest, most out there characters and you can make them matter, or you can make them have, some gravitas and some bravado to the character, inject some tragedy there. I mean, there's a lot of fun things that you can do with characters that are underdeveloped or that are just there, that maybe were just created for, joke purposes or whatever, like just to be fodder and kind of thrown away. And those are the types of characters that I think,
like Kite Man.
Like Kite Man. Yeah. Which is something, I thought Tom King did a good job with. But, and I liked the show too. I thought the show was kind of funny. But I think like you can, I mean, it doesn't really matter as long as they're written well and you can inject that into a character. I would love to see more new characters, more new villains for Spider-Man, but the incentive is just not there for writers to do that. So if I was working on Spider-Man, I would look at a lot of characters that are just not used.
Absolutely. They need more Superman villains as well. Caleb says, I want gay Black Cat gone. I guess that's the current Felicia. She's not gay, Doc. She's bi.
Which is, in current
It's
Marvel
not-
means
yeah.
gay.
Yeah.
It's like she's not going back. Like that once they cross that line, you
Hey,
can't
There's
go
a
back
cover with
because
her
they're
making
afraid
out with
of-
Peter.
They're afraid of the 12 people straight
John's
on.
bi and he's into a trans girl now. So,
Exactly.
Yeah.
He's opening up the possibilities. He's a dreamer.
He's a John's he's into the best of both worlds, I guess.
MH hashtag Comics Aficionados. Wes, I've changed. Block me on X so I can subscribe to your Patreon. It gives me access to all your content. I didn't know I had you blocked on Twitter. I'll definitely go and check that one out. If you're looking for the top tier with all the stuff, it's the Doc is Right tier. That'll get you the Doc Unfiltered show, which is the unfiltered, uncensored video that Doc and I do every week, as well as Worst of the Week. You also get the Doc Q&A. You can ask all the questions that you want. It's like a 2.5-hour podcast. You also get the Aaron Sparrow Geek Fix, where Aaron and I talk about all the geeky news from the week. You also get the Hot or Not podcast with Jim from Weird Science and myself, where we talk about all the new comic books from the week, and you get an exclusive review. You get the solicitation analysis, comic book sales analysis, all exclusive to Patreon. So there's actually lots of stuff going on there, and you get it all on the Doc is Right tier. And I will have a look-see at the Twitter, because I was unaware that I had blocked anybody.
Blocking
I knew I had people
people,
blocked, but
blocking
I haven't
people
really
on
blocked
Twitter.
anybody on Twitter in a long time, because I don't really use Twitter all that often, to be completely honest. When I'm reading new comic books, I throw up some screenshots with my thoughts, and that's about it these days. So, but I will definitely check it out and have a look-see. Appreciate that. Now I guess we should get on to the 8 Deaths of Spider-Man. I have a lot of fun there talking about all the things, but it's a new day for Spider-Man. Amazing Spider-Man under Zeb Wells is absolutely atrocious. And I don't know about you, Nandor. For the first half of ASM 61, I was like, I don't know if this got better. But then, as soon as the Doctor Doom stuff happens, it feels like the book gets much better.
Yeah, no, I agree. Like overall, my opinion of the book, I thought it was fine. I haven't read Amazing Spider-Man in years, and I think since like Nick Spencer was on Amazing Spider-Man, I just kind of like checked out. So this was my first time giving Spider-Man like a shot in a while. So I was, excited, but I was disappointed. I mean, this I don't know. Like Joe Kelly, his characterization of Spider-Man, it feels. I don't know what it is. If it's just like the way we look at some of these characters, but when I was reading Spider-Man, it almost felt like a PG-13 or PG version of Deadpool.
It was Deadpool, yeah. That's
like I didn't like it, and I was like, I don't like the voice of Peter. I don't like what he's thinking about, how he's written, and his like inner monologue there. So that was a turnoff for me, and it was just kind of hard to get into it. It feels a little flavorless, a little bland to me. But I guess with Doctor Doom in there, like it's exciting. It's exciting to see these characters together, but I know we're talking about comic books, but the way it was written feels a little juvenile to me, and like it's just kind of filler for whatever they really want to do. But towards the end, I was enjoying the issue more, and Ed McGuinness's art, I've been a huge fan of his. I love his art. I got some flavors of Terry Dodson, which I thought was really interesting. With this, I feel like Ed McGuinness's style has changed a little bit, but it's good stuff there, and it's very pleasant to look at, and I love the colors, and it's all around. I think the visuals were there, but with the writing and with the story, it'll be interesting to see what Peter goes through, what he, the different deaths he has to go through, and what he learns from that. That's what I'm kind of getting at. Like I could come back to see what lesson Peter may learn from this. But overall, it didn't get me, hyped up where I was like, yeah, I can't wait. It was just more like, yes, kind of a soft opening for me.
I mean, and that was, I don't agree, but I end up like by the end, to be fancy, I wanted to wipe my ass with the issue itself and then wipe it again. I thought it sucked. I thought that the beginning was, the dialogue was god awful. Like a war crime. It was so bad. Then when you get to the Doom stuff, it doesn't make a lick of sense. The idea that Doom is Sorcerer Supreme, and I think he's a prideful man, that Doom, and ends up having something that Stephen Strange has done over and over. He actually says that, and then he's like, yeah, I don't want to do it, you do it, Spider-Man. And then Spidey doing it and not even batting an eye, of even though it's a demon, of actually killing these demons. It's such a forced setup of nonsense. And I just don't really care to read a story where Peter's just going to die 8 times and, play that whole, kind of like body horror type.
It's kind of
body horror meets Groundhog Day.
Yeah. And it's even the whole premise of the reads and how and like, I'm telling you, since you haven't read some things, like, again, when it was announced that Joe Kelly was going to do this, which it does feel like it's more of a mini series than like the actual deal. And it's probably just a buffer till the next writer, who there's some, names that have been bandied about that aren't so great. But if you read, say, as Nonstop Spider-Man or Savage Spider-Man, or recently the Deadpool Wolverine WW3, they're barely readable. They're awful. And I think that his dialogue, he is just trying to, hey, I'll write Deadpool, I'll tone it down a little so it sounds like Spidey. I know Spidey quips, but these things were just over the top. And just you start out with like, what the hell's going on? And it's a cold open, but it just was bad. And by the end, like I said, Doom showing up, it's again a book where it's a big book, so they put it just like Miss Marvel was in it to die before. Doom just shows up here to get Peter involved only because it's Spider-Man and they want it to sell and get the Doom thing out. It just, everything felt wrong.
Yeah, I almost feel like it and Doctor Strange shows up at the end, but I almost feel like it would have been better just as a Doctor Strange Spider-Man interaction,
like a team up or something. Like that,
because I like seeing those characters together. Doom in the book, it's an odd, I guess it's an odd pairing. And I thought it was very hilarious when I was reading it. They'll have those editor notes, and they're like Nick Lowe had in there, like, do you remember when Doom, like, you didn't forget about Blood Hunt, right? And I was like, I forgot about Blood Hunt.
Yeah, everybody's already forgot about it.
Like no one, I mean, I didn't read it and I didn't really care for it.
So in the whole thing also, it's very reminiscent of Mariko Tamaki, Teenie Howard's Catwoman story, that you don't want to be anything like Teenie Howard's anything. And it's just like, oh, we're doing something like that. It just felt just forced to me.
I loved, I will say, going back to Ed McGuinness, I loved those kind of watercolor pages that he did. I don't know if that was traditionally done.
No, that was actually another artist.
Was that? Oh, okay.
To do that. I forget his name, but he came in and did that. Those were pretty cool. Actually.
Yeah, I liked that. I liked that.
Yeah, so that was,
I feel like the biggest flaw in this, I mean, because, and I've said this elsewhere, this is giving me a Spider-Man gets the Captain Universe powers vibe, where it's a big status quo change that seems kind of out of left field, and I don't know if it necessarily works for Spider-Man, but at least they're trying something new. That being said, he this whole issue, he's got, like, when they gave him, when Doom gives him those champion powers, it's basically just a big Deus Ex Machina that he knows how to beat all of them and he can't die against them. So what's the
that's the weird point.
What's I mean, like,
where's the drama there? The there's no stakes, right? So
there isn't. There's no stakes at all. There's no tension. Unless, I mean, it would have been one thing if he, like, okay, look, you can only die 4 times. You have to fight 8 of them.
Fight 8, yeah.
Okay, I could, so he uses up 2 of them, like, real quick, and then he's got to figure out how to beat, like, the next 4 without dying.
It's too. The way they explain it almost feels like part of the deal is he has to die each. Yeah. It's weird how it spells it out. So he's doing it, right? It's
to extol, like, to pay the price.
Yeah. And so Spider-Man, he has magic. He has long range attacks, and he's like, I think I'm going to kill this thing by flying in its black hole mouth. Like he's become dumber when he gets these powers, and it just ended up like, really. But again, like I said, the premise of it and the explanation of this covenant thing, it's really vague and really confusing for what seems to be a very easy concept, but there's no stakes. Like you said, it just ends up seeming like, okay, you fight this guy, you'll die at the end, see Coulson there as death, and come back. That's what it seemed like, and it just was a disappointment.
Yeah,
the
I did
artist
not.
is Nico Henriksen. Is the
Yeah.
one that
Yeah.
did the dream sequence.
Oh, okay.
And I really like Nico Hendrick. Oh, by the way, so if you've never read it, you can find this. It was available in hardcover. It was done through Vertigo in the early 2000s. Nico Henriksen and Brian Vaughan, Pride of Baghdad. It's about this pride of lions that escapes the Baghdad Zoo after the Americans, attacked in the global war on terror. And
the city, Doc.
yeah, and they're like,
Yeah.
and now they're free to, they're moving around the city and them trying to survive and being in like a very foreign environment because they're in a city and they're lions. It's actually really, really fucking good. So just as a, kind of sidebar here, you get a great Brian Vaughan and Nico Henriksen story, and the art's
really good,
amazing.
really, really tragic tale, and based on a true story, because there was a bunch of lions that escaped the Baghdad Zoo and ended up in the city.
Very, very true.
Hmm.
All right, Nandor, you were about to say something about Spider-Man. What were you going?
Well, I was just gonna say, there's, and I mean, this is just, the entire, I guess, reason for this book and the premise of it. I've always, for me personally, I've always had kind of an issue when you take a superhero character, and you kind of do, I know Spider-Man's been in a lot of different scenarios and, magic and all those sorts of things that he's been through. But sometimes when you take a character and you kind of shoehorn them into, a scenario like this, like where he's, this mystical champion or something like that. I'm not always a fan of that. I feel like you're taking the character out of their playground and you're putting them in a different playground where they don't really belong. Sometimes it can work, in the hands of the right writer. You can do that, and you can have that genre mashup, and make it work. But, the way that this story has started out, it just reminded me of why I don't like those types of stories, because I feel like, I haven't read Spider-Man in a long time. I'm getting back into it. I'm reading this issue, and I feel like I haven't missed anything. And I don't feel like that's, very good for Marvel. I don't think that's good for new readers who are coming into this. I'm not a fan of the new costume. I feel like it could be a cool action figure maybe, but I love something about Spider-Man. It's like, if it's not the classic red and blue, it better be the black suit. If it's not those two, I don't really care that much. But
What do you think, Aaron? Is that going to make a really badass McFarlane Toys Spider-Man?
I mean, McFarlane only does statues for Marvel, so no, it won't make a very good toy. I'm sure
And he hasn't done a cover with it, so it probably won't happen.
A fine
anyway.
statue of it. I think we talked about how cool the Wolverine with the Hulk reflection and the claws looks, and Hulk crushing the logo. I mean, he's doing some neat stuff. No doubt about it, but not action figures.
But you don't think the costume itself has the potential to be a badass action figure?
No, I don't think it's going to have the longevity of, say, Web Armor Spider-Man from, Web of Spider-Man 100. Yeah. Which I will tell you, if you guys want to hear, I'll tell you a brief story about the creation of that. So I worked with Rob Tokar, who was the editor on the book at the time, and he said the edict came down from above, like, Spider-Man needs to wear an armor, so put him in an Iron Man armor for this issue. And he was like, well, it doesn't make any sense. Like, Peter's a chemist. He's not he's not an engineer. He's not going to build Iron Man armor. And they were like, he needs to be an armor on the cover so we can do this mirror coat cover. And so it was actually Rob who went to the writers and said, okay, let's come up with a way for it to be a chemically based costume. And let's make sure that we destroy it in that issue so that we don't have to deal with it ever again. But it continually gets put out in action figure form.
Well, at least they were thinking ahead.
Yeah.
So, Jib, you thought this was just as bad as Zeb Wells. You didn't even think the second half picked up.
No. I said I did a review, and my thumbnail was going to be, "Can we have Zeb Wells back?" At one point, I did change that, but it just ended. I ended up, and I hated Zeb Wells' run. It was awful. But I think that if there was a sentient mailbox or sandwich in this, it would have just fit right in as well. And it just the whole premise of it, like I said, it's ill-defined but yet ridiculous. If you sit there and think Doom just decides out of nowhere, I think this big world-ending thing is going to happen. It's very magical. It's all this, who do I need to pick? And he picks Spider-Man. Like, what did he draw it out of a hat? It doesn't make sense for Doom. It doesn't make sense in the whole play of it. And again, it's just, everything felt forced. It felt like there was a checklist. Hey, I got to do these. Doom has to be in it. Let's just make up something and throw him in there. But yeah, body horror. I don't want to see Peter dying all that time. If it was the one death of Paul, is way better than the 8 deaths of Spider-Man. And I would have loved that. But I just reading it. It's only the first issue, so I do have to say I'm going to be reading and reviewing them, and I'm hoping that it does get better. But some of Joe Kelly's recent stuff, I said the dialogue is bad, and then the concept. But I did like the art. Both artists, I thought, did a good job. And one of the things is, you have a body horror story. It is by the end. And McGinnis, like, he's a cartoony kind of, so it's kind of a funny even play there that didn't seem real thought out with it. But I don't mind that because I like his art. But we'll get Rec Rat probably coming in because that'll drive me nuts. And, all this crazy stuff. But I thought that the beginning was god awful, and the bar was low, so it did get a little better, but I just thought it was ridiculous.
Well, you can definitely tell, like, they needed to do something with Spider-Man. They needed Zeb Wells to go away. They didn't have a full-time writer. They're like, we'll just do a story where he works for Doom. Doom's gonna be a big deal.
Doom Sorcerer Supreme. What do we got there? Hey, we'll have this coming. And where you can really tell, and I was thinking after we were talking a little bit about the idea, why this is only just a filler deal, is they didn't renumber it, and they've been renumbering. If this was being planned to be a longer run, I think they would have started again at a number 1 like they did for Nick Spencer and Zeb Wells. So yeah.
And keep in mind, they didn't renumber for the Beyond era because it was definitely a filler.
Mm-hmm. Yep, it was a filler. That's exactly right.
And I got a sneaky suspicion they were like, well, we need to put Justina Ireland on something.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we can give her Spider-Man, but wait. Zeb Wells just entirely shit the bed on this and drove it into the ground. How can we still put her on that without making it like a step in a worse direction? Yeah. Oh, well, we'll hire Joe Kelly to come in and, carry her for a couple of the issues, but she'll be the one mostly writing it.
One guy told me he thinks that they're like, this run is they're throwing the fight a bit and making it even worse. So that when Justine Ireland comes in, it's better. Like crazy talk like that.
It could be. I still think that she's the next writer. I am pretty certain of it at this point. I would be legitimately shocked if she's not.
I'm with you.
It will. I just want to see at that point how low can ASM sales actually go.
And a lot of people say that it's like the book that it'll go low. And when they had that tweet, remember we were talking about a little, I think last week, where she had the tweet that said, "Hey, everybody messaging me about Paul. I don't have the power to do this or whatever to get rid of him." And we were like, oh, well, maybe that means she isn't. But I think that shows she is. If she was just going to be on a couple issues, she wouldn't even respond to that. She'd be like, well, what do I care? I'm on. I think she's going to be the writer. And
she also knows that she doesn't have the authority to do any creative decisions.
So they've talked about it. And, I think she's the right. Lansing and Kelly's names have been bandied about, the hive mind, they call themselves. By the way, don't give yourselves your own nickname. That's ridiculous. But you end up with it though. Justine Ireland's on it,
T-Bone.
Well, remember, I mean, the hive mind is an appropriate name for them because when you combine both of their brains, they are as smart as one ant.
And you have to take Benadryl after because they give you the freaking hives. not the shingles, the hives.
Well, the main problem with Marvel right now seems to be the fact that, and Marvel and DC, is that the editors have been told that they're the showrunners.
Yep.
And that's the problem, is because you have a bunch of people who in those positions who couldn't cut it as writers to save their lives, but they're the ones making the decisions. They're the ones dictating to the writers what you can and can't do. So, you know, even if the writers have a good idea, it has to get past an idiot. That's not a good way to make comics. You know, the editor's job should be, you know, hey, we've got some ideas. And then you go to the writer and you say, what do you got? What's your pitch? And the writer gives you, you know, their pitch, and you say, can we work in these things? You know, maybe we can, maybe we can't, but you work together. It's supposed to be a collaborative process to put out the best book possible. That's not what's happening. The editors and the assistant editors are dictating to the writers what they're going to write. And that's why, you know, that's why Spider-Man sucks, is because it's under the direction of Nick Lowe. The reason that X-Men sucks is because it's under the direction of Tom Brevoort, and he does not care. He went into this telling you he doesn't care. He doesn't like the X-Men. So it's actually, the current run of X-Men seems like it's worse than Krakoa.
I think it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like it's great too, because then I have something in common with Tom Brevoort. Like I hate the X-Men books as well. I'm very happy.
Also, the other reason why it's worse than Krakoa is this is another one where it feels like they're throwing the fight, because they didn't want to leave Krakoa. The company didn't, the editorial department didn't, and the only people that forced them to are the sales department. And so they're doing it while throwing a temper tantrum and getting dragged kicking and screaming from it.
No. Yeah, and people would probably say, like, oh, well, you know, it's a company, they're not going to throw things, whatever. They kind of did with the Fantastic Four books and the X-Men books before. They were like, we're just not going to have books out. We won't make them out because we want to, you know, force the issue in the movie, stuff like that. So they certainly don't mind doing some of that stuff. But it all feels, I mean, Marvel itself feels like, you know, if you want to go with the fight, they've thrown in the towel. I mean, it's bad. It's really bad. And it seems like every bit of news and rumors, it's just going to get worse. And that's not good.
So, Dylan, you are more of a DC guy, but I did send you a review copy. Does this, you know, tickle your fancy? Does this make you want to come back over to Marvel, maybe check out ASM moving forward?
No, not at all. The only Amazing Spider-Man I've read in recent years was anytime I'm on here and it's a topic of discussion, I read whatever the issue is that week. The last
you didn't like
issue
Nick Spencer?
The last issue was some like dumbass story about like a spear and possession and like something with Craven, and like this is wild and so stupid. And I thought with Joe Kelly it'd be the opportunity to be more of a return to form, maybe bring things down a bit, not be so crazy, do something more street level. And then no, it's the 8 Deaths of Spider-Man and Dr. Doom is helping, and it's like,
and he's a fucking wizard.
Yeah, and to throw that in, he's a sad sack loser wizard too, but how it starts. And that hurts him back
to the GI problem.
He is definitely not like a likable guy. That's what
Spider-Man not at all.
Right?
We're following up like that stupid, crazy story with another one instead of doing something that could be a bit more tame. And the dialogue was so bad.
Yeah, it was bad. And
was.
Dylan, the funny thing is, you don't realize that when you read that issue with the Goblin stuff, that was the second time they had done that in 6 months. Like they had done that 6 months prior, the exact same story, and then went back to it.
Sounds like what they did with Green Arrow.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
but yeah, the dialogue in this was bad. The part where it's like, I can add some swear words if it'll make it more concrete. It's like, what am I reading right now? This is bad. Ed McGuinness is great though. He still got it. I love the art on this. The suit, I thought the scarf kind of ruins it. Honestly, the rest of it I don't mind. I don't think it's a great suit, but the rest of it I don't mind. I think the scarf kind of ruins the suit though.
You don't like that Strider Hear You touch?
Yeah, I don't think it's good. And Jim was pointing out earlier, it's weird how at the end it kind of seems like a requirement to beat these guys is to die.
Yeah.
Like they weren't very good at explaining how to beat them. He's kind of like, yeah, each time you die, you defeat them was kind of the sense I got.
Like that's how it seemed by the end. And I ended up like, how does this work? Like, why? Like, it's weird. And you're going to end up having that anyway, because they want to show this deal. And he'll talk to Coulson, they'll make jokes, and then he'll come back. And but it felt like a requirement. Like,
yeah,
it just felt weird.
Yeah, like that's what you have to do. And there was no stakes in this story at all. And it's just not interesting. I thought it would be way more interesting if he would have rejected Doom's offer and then been but still been Earth's champion. So like the whole time he's getting his ass beat, he has that hanging over. Do I accept it? I'm getting my ass beat. Do I accept it? But also it's Doom. So who knows what strings are attached? I thought that'd be more interesting.
Yeah, and have some sort of stakes with that you don't know what's. I would have liked that, and I would have liked to have something to start out with, not that nonsense. Have something that is why at that point Doom picks Peter, or that
Yes.
it's actually like it's not even Doom's choice. It ends up just, you know, almost like a Green Lantern ring. It takes it to him, but you had nothing. You had nothing at all.
Well, they tried.
He
to
instantly accepts the
explain-
powers.
Yeah.
They tried to explain that he only accepted, or that Doom only approached him because he's the guy most likely to sacrifice himself for everyone around him. And that's why, but like,
Which is
I'm pretty
weird
sure
too,
you could have
right?
found you could have found
Yeah, you
some
could've.
other
Captain
character
America.
that some other character
Anybody, yeah.
that
Department
had
Brigade.
some history with magic,
Yeah.
like at all.
Voodoo.
Yeah.
It's very it doesn't make any sense. And then even like I said, Doom, who is a guy who would never say that he can't do something or whatever, almost is like, yeah, I need you to do it because of I'm kind of busy.
He's like, I'm too busy. Doom's I'm too busy doing other stuff. He doesn't want to
I'm
do
doing
it.
bigger Doom stuff.
Yeah, I'm doing
It really
this
makes
stuff.
Doom seem bitch made
Yeah,
compared
it
to
does.
Strange.
It really does. And that's nothing. I mean, the big play is he duped Strange to get the power. There's no way he's going to give a whole story about how Stephen Strange has always been able to stop this and then say, yeah, I'm busy. You can do it. And even like Doc said, he ends up explaining the way of, well, I sensed her. We're picking you because you're kind of lame and we know that you won't mind dying. It's such a weird concept. I just don't get it. It's so weird.
It's a weird book.
Yeah.
But the first half of it's so bad. I swear I was duped into thinking the second half was much better.
It continues the trend though that actually like Zeb Wells run.
When I was done, was like, I don't hate this.
I just like that it makes it Nick Spencer's run just gets better with each issue.
Oh,
that comes out as it's going. And I didn't like a lot of it. I thought that now I'm like, holy crap.
We didn't know how good we had it. No.
It's like when the prequels came out, I'm like, you know what? I don't mind the Ewoks as much anymore in that Return of the Jedi. I'm good. But yeah, that's what the best thing of this past bunch of years has done.
Yeah. So let's hear from the peoples. We got Dion. Fun fact, Ram V's entire Detective Comics run is more expensive than a Nintendo Switch Lite.
Does Ram V strike you as a guy who would be like, I don't really care about sales. I'm producing art.
Oh yeah. Me and him got in an argument. We were on
Okay.
Twitter and I said like, oh man, this is tough. And he started talking shit on a written review I did. And like really like almost lent like, you know, the site that did this rhymes with Eared Iance Comics. Like he really made it clear. And I said like, yeah, it's not for me or whatever. And he's like, I don't care what you think. I don't care what readers think. I like to make myself happy and I'll do it. I'm like, really? Like, okay. And
all right,
so,
then go do your own book and stop trying to produce commercial art because commercial art needs to be commercially viable.
It has to be commercial. And he said, I'd love to have a 100-issue run where it's about nothing. Nothing ties in. There's loose and
You
just
almost got it
I
with
want to do it. Yeah, I warned people.
So you just want to meander for 100
Yeah,
issues?
that's what he said because
Fuck
it's
you,
only
dude. That's not
what
even a
floats
story.
his boat. Yeah. Yeah, he's like, that's all he wants to do. And some people
right, Jim.
like him, but boy, it's terrible.
You ready to blow some minds?
Yeah, yeah.
What did you
yeah.
tell
This
me
is
to
gonna
do
be
with
blow-
New Gods?
This is the thing. I've read New Gods. It's not bad. I like it. The first issue of it is good.
Oh my
And
gosh.
and I'm saying that as somebody I hated Detective. I think he's a pretentious writer, though I did like Dawn Runner a lot until the end. It kind of fizzled out. But New Gods, and I thought it was going to be so over the top for him. It starts out kind of, wacky the first couple of pages, but then it gets really good. It actually gets really good.
I like that the best that a professional writer could do was to say it rhymes with eared iance.
Eared iance. It was basically
Yeah, that's the best he could do.
Yeah, and it's like that one thing, like as he was doing it, it was basically, I don't want to be called out for calling this guy, so I'll do it in a way that if they say, he's like, oh, I thought I was being subtle. But again, Ram V is a guy who will randomly during the week just tweet out to remind you he's like a chemical engineer. I said this to Wes, like he just wants you to know.
Well,
Well,
apparently he
as a
wasn't
writer, I think that he's probably a great chemical engineer.
Great chemical engineer. Yeah.
because he wastes a lot of time doing nothing.
I think he wastes a lot of his money on hair product too. He's always got that flowing hair. It drives
Yeah.
me nuts. You know?
He and Nandor are just fucking. You just can't take it with hair like that. You know what I mean?
No.
Like, what do you think that hair costs Nandor in a week with product? $50?
That's $3,000.
Yeah.
Oh man, I wouldn't have any. I spend all my money on comics, guys. I can't.
Yeah.
I can't afford hair product.
Dion then says, "Why is Peter dying 8 times? Is he 50 cent now?"
There's like
That's a
10
pretty good
cents.
one. I don't know why he's dying 8 times. Because they needed to waste 10 issues and get to the next writer. I think this is basically
And it's the weirdest thing too, because Peter just didn't find out that really you saved the world with a gay kiss. That's what we found out from Marvel. He could have just done that. He could have just kissed Paul. Would have been the best.
You really enjoyed
he wants
Negasonic
to
Teenage
kiss
Warhead,
Paul.
didn't you?
And
He
I
wants
guess
to kiss Paul and try his chowder.
He's like, yes. He's like,
Wait.
I love that man bun.
That's how the entire Paul, MJ, Peter love triangle ends, with Peter and Paul together.
Yes.
That'd be great.
That'd be
Them
the way to
cooking
do
MJ
it.
would be
Wait, hold
nice.
on. It's Peter, Paul, and Mary Jane.
Mary Jane. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, fucking Christ.
It is.
It just dawned on me.
Yep. And
Oh my
yeah.
goodness.
Yeah.
Oh no!
Can you
I
believe this
hate
asshole?
Nick Lowe even more.
Hi guys, great show. Love Jim. He's the
Love the
best.
magic
Nice.
dragon.
Yeah.
What is
Damn
this,
right.
Jim? Is that you?
It's not me.
This is an alt?
No,
one
it's
says that
Ronnie.
about you.
It's not, nobody does except Ronnie. He's on the cusp of I don't know what. Nobody said that.
I love Jim too. I like to give him crap, but Jim's great. Baja Cat says, if Peter didn't turn down the devil, he wasn't turning down Doom. He enjoys making deals with evil characters. On second thought, keep him away from MJ. He didn't think that much of his marriage anyways.
MJ's the one that took the deal.
Doc is defending Peter on the
Once
is.
again,
Got the
MJ
whisper.
took the deal, not Peter.
Well, I mean that's biblical, right? It's the
Yeah.
woman who is beguiled by the devil, and then the man has to the man gets pulled into it.
And gets punished for her sins.
Yeah.
La 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 la. I didn't.
We're all
say
getting
anything.
punished for her sins. 'Cause
Even
reading
Screen Rant's
about-
writing articles now, being like, "This is really stupid that they don't have MJ and Peter back together yet."
Yeah, and Scream Rant does that.
Yeah, you know, you probably.
Usually though, it's like 5 years too. Like they're reporting.
Oh,
on
it
things
is 5
from
2 years too
2000.
It is.
Yeah,
It is.
yeah.
It's
It
5
always
years
is.
because it should have happened in 2021.
No.
Well, Screen Rant only chimes in once it's safe to do so.
Like they just had an article that Damian Wayne died. They that's only like 8 years too late. Can you believe it?
I hate it when you guys bring up Damian Wayne now because I'm like, oh god, here we go,
No,
fighting in the chat.
no more fighting for me.
Jim and I getting accused of abusing fans
Yeah,
the way that
yeah.
the mainstream accuses.
Then at one point I thought that Aaron thought I was arguing with him. Like, oh no, it's come full circle.
You guys are always looking for your online spats. Dion says,
shout out to
Dion. There we go.
We tried to treat you the way we treat each other, which is
Exactly.
we had some light roasting.
I
We
was
treated you as
treating
equal.
him like I do a guy playing hockey as CP. So,
exactly.
Or like we treat Doc, or like we treat like we treat Gabe, or or Sully when Sully's like, I like the Red Band books.
No,
We're
no,
like,
Gabe
oh,
we
Sully,
don't like.
he put a
That's
bag
real.
over our head.
I love Gabe.
Dion,
I
Dion,
just don't like Gabe.
Dion, you're more beloved on Aficionados than Gabe. So
Yes. Yeah.
Dion says Nick Lowe really tweeted Paul believers on Twitter.
Actually, and
Oh.
I don't want to start a fight, but what he did say was Paul Levers,
Yeah.
which has even a worse mouthfeel. It's the worst. Paul Levers, which I said I did a thing on it. My mom's name is Pauline, and that reminded me of her, and I hate her guts. So it really got me mad that way too. Hate her. But the idea of Paul Levers using a Stan Lee phrase to pull in Paul and Nick Lowe, bad.
And it gives me like terrible Bo Dallas flashbacks.
Yeah.
I like Bo Dallas. He was great.
You know how that gimmick could
Believers.
have worked? Real quick, that gimmick could have worked if you would have had Bo like putting people in like an ankle lock, and then like the whole time that he's like trying to get them to tap, he's also telling them, "Don't tap, don't tap. You gotta believe. You gotta believe in yourself."
Do it. Oh my goodness. MH hashtag Comics Invictus. Absolute 4th of July at Comics Invictus on Twitter. Wink.
By the way,
we'll
Gabe's in
definitely
the
check
chat, so everybody,
Yeah.
you can call him Sus. And if you want any sort of evidence, go and read his G.I. Joe review.
that. Absolutely. We got G.I. Joe this week.
Yep.
One of the best debuts I've seen in a long time, Dylan. I love this issue. I think the art's spectacular. I love the coloring. I know people are upset with that. I think it feels retro. Gabe gave G.I. Joe #1 a 7 out of 10. Can you believe that, Dylan? Is that sus as shit?
I'd say so. I thought G.I. Joe was really good, and it's nice having Tom Riley.
I gave it like
He was great.
9.5.
Dylan, can you explain it to Gabe?
Explain to Gabe why it's good.
Yeah, after the show, I'll go in depth. But I thought G.I. Joe was great. It's nice because towards the end of like the IDW run, unless it was like Robert Atkins, the art was not too great. So having Tom Riley on here was great. I really enjoyed it. I like what they're doing. I like the how we see how they get the lasers, which is cool. Having like an actual explanation for it is cool. And yeah, everything was so much fun. That ending was, I didn't expect that.
Crazy.
Yeah, that ending.
Yeah.
I was not excited, especially because the moment, I won't spoil anything for people who haven't read, but like right before, where it's like, oh, he's about to do something really cool, and it was like, oh shit, never mind. So yeah, it was really good. I love the first issue of G.I. Joe, so I'm excited to see where things go from here.
There he
Look
is.
at that,
Well,
Gabe.
I ended up with, because of Gabe's review, I actually have a video. It's like a diss track.
You need to make
review
another
against
review,
Gabe.
Jim, to offset his bad
That's
score.
what I
Give
did.
it a 13.
Most of the review, I just yell about Gabe. It's gonna come up. It's gonna be coming up later today on my channel. And what happened was I was getting off. I ended up doing it at like 4 a.m. This deal, and I was a little loopy, but I was yelling about Gabe and his thing. So I said it's a diss track review. Is what it is. Nonsense.
So, Aaron, you got the special cover. Did you get to read G.I. Joe #1 this week?
Yeah, it's freaking phenomenal. Like I couldn't
too.
like just from an editor, and like I'm very harsh because it's like I read things, I can't turn off the editor brain anymore, which is kind of unfortunate because I don't get to like just kind of sit back and enjoy things the way that I maybe used to. Everything is like I view everything with a critical eye now. As an editor, I would have changed nothing about this issue. It hit all the right.
I had
points
one
for me.
small complaint, and that was it.
Mhm. What was your small?
The new character debut literally plays no part whatsoever in the issue at all. It was a waste of real estate. We could have got some more action.
That is fair. That is a fair assessment. But
Legitimately, the only thing that I could say about it.
Mm-hmm. I tend to view these things as like, okay, well, I'm just reading this first issue. What's the full arc? Like, when you get the trade, is it gonna work?
I guarantee it will.
Mm-hmm.
But man, I liked it. People keep bitching about the colors. I think it's great that the characters are popping out of the sky and not just blending into different colors of dung.
Yes.
No, I love the color choices. I thought that was, a great
Those were
choice.
nice.
I think it sets
The
the book
colors-
apart.
Yeah, they were a standout. I mean, the scene, the purple and yellow, that sequence was that was amazing. I loved it.
Yeah, I and a lot of onomatopoeias. So Sully's in.
Sully's got to be.
He loves it. Yeah. Oh, I know that Sully loved it.
So,
Great.
I
I
Theodore
love
love
the
the
chat. Tell us if you loved it.
Yeah.
So,
So,
Nader, you came in on too. What were your thoughts?
yeah. So this, probably this is somewhat, I guess, embarrassing to say, but this is my first GI Joe comic. I
Ever?
wasn't huge. Yeah. I played with the figures growing up, and I watched some stuff, and I watched some of the live action movies or whatever. But I was familiar with the characters, and my brother and we would always play Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow, and we loved those characters. So I was familiar with them, but I really haven't read any GI Joe comics, and so I'm a huge fan of Joshua Williamson, and I love Tom Riley. I worked with Tom Riley actually on a cover for Man-Child issue 1, so I love his work. He's a great guy, and he has a fantastic, perfect style, I think, for this type of story. And I loved what he did. There was a panel in particular that I thought was amazing, was when Duke jumps at the helicopter and it's that undershot. And I was just like, this is peak. Like, this is amazing.
The silhouette.
Yeah, the silhouette. Yeah, and
it
it was like silent. It was a silent panel. It just worked so well. And I was like, this is
the thumbnail.
Yeah. So, and I like the little ties to the greater Energon universe. I thought that was really well handled. Everything about it, it's one of those first issues that get you pumped and ready for what's to come, and it seems like they're firing on all cylinders. It's a great team, and I did notice. I don't know if you guys noticed how many covers there are for this book. I think there were 45. I counted how many like different variant covers, and I was like, this is insane. I don't know if they needed that many, but it's it's a strong launch, and for someone like me, getting into it, I was really happy with it, and I love the colors too, and I thought Josh Williamson did a really good job introducing each character in a way that made sense. So yeah, I'm on board for it.
It's on the pull.
Not on the pull. I'm gonna try to keep up with it. But I'm buying too many already, and I'm also one of those people that since it's a part of the greater Energon universe, I feel like if I start getting into it too much, I'm gonna get everything because I like to collect it all.
Well, it's not a bad problem to have. So what do you think, Dylan? Is this the strongest G.I. Joe relaunch we've had? I mean, I know you're more of a G.I. Joe than Transformers guy. I feel like it's really up there.
It's definitely up there. It was a really good relaunch. I hope it gets more people that haven't been into G.I. Joe into it because it's really good. And I'd like to see G.I. Joe have a resurgence. Like Transformers has had all the success and G.I. Joe hasn't really had much success in a long time. And this book was great. So it'd be nice to see more people get in the G.I. Joe.
And Jim,
I'd love it if people went back and checked out the Larry Hama stuff.
Get that
Real
American Hero still going. That's really good. And Jim, you're more, who G.I. Joe more than Transformers. You were getting a little turned off by Transformers, but G.I. Joe has you all right back.
Yeah, and I'm with Dylan. I have no real connection with Transformers, and in the review, and I've said it a bunch of times, I recognize the book is good, the Transformers stuff, but when you end up having like emotional scenes or stuff like that, it just does. I don't know what it is because I don't really know Transformers, and I'm sure
you don't have
same would
empathy.
happen. Yeah, exactly. Well, I don't. That's been diagnosed. But in the whole play, though, I love Duke, and each of the books. I really like Cobra Commander, kind of like the Nuff Destro, but this G.I. Joe is so much, a shot in the arm again after that Scarlet debacle. That was awful. So we end up going into this, and I'm not a huge Joshua Williamson fan. I am not. He's hit or miss for me. And I love Duke and this, and even Cobra Commander. So this whole Energon stuff he's doing, I love. I'm into it. I really loved it. Gabe's ridiculous, is what.
Absolutely.
They've made me like invested in Cobra Law, which
yeah.
I liked Cobra Law in the movie when I was a kid and I saw it, but I never wanted it to bleed into the regular G.I. Joe universe. And when they introduced it in the Energon universe, I was like, oh, this is interesting, and I thought they did it in a really interesting way, and I'm digging it. In this
He's
universe,
going to be a big part in Void Rival soon.
Mm-hmm.
The Snick lady.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember her name. Yep. So, Doc, you picked up, finally, you went to your comic book shop. You got one new book this week. It ended up being G.I. Joe, but you haven't read it.
I haven't. I'm actually sort of maybe while we're talking.
You're paging through it.
Paging through it. And I'm about halfway through, and it's really fucking good so far. So, yeah, look.
Gabe is not on the right side of history here.
No, Gabe.
Yeah.
Is he ever?
Gabe's a great guy, but man, he's got the worst taste next to Jimmy.
Yeah.
Of anyone that's ever spent time on this channel. Jimmy had the worst taste. I mean, come on, he liked Jason Aaron. That automatically makes you have abysmal taste. But Gabe is a very, very close second. And this book's fucking great through 16 pages. yeah, I really enjoy it.
Yeah, definitely suggest everyone go out and read that. And while you're at it, I guess we could knock this out of here. We do have our favorite G.I. Joe comics ever. Sounds like Nandor is not going to be able to contribute too much there.
Yeah,
but I want to go first because I know that Dylan will try to steal this one for me because he's the one that suggested the book to me. But Snake Eyes Declassified from Brandon Jerwa is easily my favorite G.I. Joe comic book of all time. Snake Eyes coming out of Vietnam, traveling around America with Cobra Commander before he's Cobra Commander, robbing people and beating the shit out of them, was a great book.
Yeah, during the Devil's Due era as well.
Yeah. That thing is wild. He basically took all the stuff that had been set up, a lot of it, I think by Chuck,
Yeah.
and then puts it all together into actually one cohesive story with a bunch of flashbacks and fleshes it all together into one actual real origin.
Yeah.
Where is Brandon Jerwa? Like, why has he not gotten more opportunities? Because he did a really good job with the G.I. Joe book at Devil's Due.
He did.
Yeah.
The Devil's
he's
Due
local
era kind of brought G.I. Joe back to the it was a rather kind of lost franchise at that point, because remember they had gone through a lot of the mid and late 90s Joe stuff with like the Eco Warriors era and Tiger Force, and it was just all
Force.
What was that?
Drug Elimination Force.
Yeah. Destro's Dominators. Like, they kept trying to just sell you the same toy with a different paint job on it, like multiple times.
I looked at it. He hasn't really published anything comic books related since 2010. He did a Kickstarter, I believe, around 2011, and then that's the last input into Wikipedia. Maybe he quit comic books.
That's sad.
Yeah.
But when Devil's Due got that G.I. Joe license for relatively cheap in the early 2000s, and then it had those dope J. Scott Campbell variants, or no, it was covers. He just did the covers.
And you got some Mike Zeck in there too later. Like, it was just,
Yep. And you know what? Josh Blaylock was had really good art too.
Mookie Blaylock.
Yeah, Mookie.
All right, Doc, what's your favorite G.I. Joe comic book story of all time? I'm going with Snake Eyes Declassified.
I mean, I can go with the silent issue.
Yeah.
That's, I mean, but that's favorite. I feel like that's a cop out.
That's everything. Yeah. That's what I'm saying, Doc. So cop out all.
Doc's going to pick Dark Phoenix as his favorite X-Men story.
Yes. No, I mean, I feel like that was a cop out. I enjoyed a lot of the, like, probably at about issue 50 to 75 of the G.I. Joe A Real American Hero. I thought that's kind of when Larry Hama hit his stride, and like every issue was really, really good. And then it like kind of started fading. So I can't really pick a specific issue in there.
Be your favorite story, favorite run, favorite issue. It's whatever it is that you're feeling. Favorite era. Hit it, Doc.
In which case, then
75.
You know what? If I'm gonna, I think, you know what? No, if I'm gonna pick a specific issue, actually, I am gonna go with the Josh Blaylock Devil's Due #1, because it was like so refreshing and it was such a wonderful back to basics without forgetting the history of the G.I. Joes.
Very nice. All right, Dylan, you are a younger G.I. Joe fan. Do you have a favorite story, since I stole probably your #1?
Snake Eyes Declassified is amazing. I think that not only one of the best G.I. Joe stories, but I think that's my favorite origin comic. But I figured you'd choose it, so I had another one lined up, and that's Cobra: The Last Laugh. I love this, from Mike Costa, Christos Gage. It is amazing. It's all about Chuckles. Chuckles goes undercover here. This is when Cobra's earlier on. They don't really know what's going on with Cobra. So Chuckles has been a mercenary going around trying to like build a rep for himself to get recruited by Cobra. And he does. And he has to do some heinous things to maintain his cover. He's got to deal with the Crimson Cobra twins. There's a lot that goes on here that I don't want to spoil because it's a thriller. And it is amazing. I love Cobra: The Last Laugh. It's so good. And that era with like where you had Mike Costa and Chuck Dixon writing G.I. Joe was really good. And just like a spy thriller, G.I. Joe book with Chuckles, it's amazing. It's top notch. And I don't think enough people has read it. And I think it's a little harder to get this hardcover now, but it's if you can get your hands on it, it's really good. It's like 300 pages. It's really good.
It's only 300 pages.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Now, see,
So,
I have
Aaron,
the Chuckles
you have an
figure
awesome.
because-
Yeah. Let him know.
Yeah, so like Wes bought me the Chuckles figure for Christmas, and sent that to me, and it actually comes with a head sculpt from the book where he's
nice.
to hell, from that cover where he's tied to the chair and he's all beat up. So that is a fantastic story. Declassified is fantastic. You guys picked 2 winners right there. The Mike Costa stuff, I think it was him. I was talking about it on Max's channel last night. There is a speech that Cobra Commander gives in one of those books where he's talking about the death of the American dream. And how it's, how America has betrayed you. And he's talking to I think it's the town of Springfield. And it is such a good speech. It's so well written that you're like, would I join Cobra?
Why you joining Cobra?
Yeah.
Right? That's how good it is. So I'm going to, since you guys picked those 2, I'm going to go with G.I. Joe 26 and 27.
That's
that
my
is
other
the,
pick. Damn it.
Yeah, that's the origin story of Snake
Yeah,
Eyes and Storm Shadow. It's where you find out all of Snake Eyes' backstory, his relationship with characters like Stalker. You find out that they were, Stalker was Long Range Recon Patrol with Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow, and and then later we find out Wade Collins was part of that too. But that story is fantastic. It also humanizes Storm Shadow, and gives you his reasons for being part of Cobra. It tells the whole story of the Hard Master and the Soft Master, and it's fantastic. And then I would say that the Snake Eyes Storm Shadow invasion of Cobra Island to kill Zartan is absolutely fantastic as well. So that's like some of the peak G.I. Joe, like Hama Run stuff for me. Love that stuff. And
Man,
guys,
I feel so bad for Jim.
Yeah.
I let
That
the
compendium,
G.I.
Jim.
Joe nerds go before him. You guys should have went last. You have anything left, Jim?
Yeah, no, that's it. I the only other thing that I haven't read, I actually watched more of the cartoon as a kid. It's one of the few things that I did because I wasn't a nerd. But I ended up where I really also I didn't love the Transformers G.I. Joe Marvel crossover deal. It's it's dated, but that was kind of goofy fun. I reread that recently, but I was more of the issue 21. The silent deal, and then 26 and 27. So you stole my thunder.
You could have them all, Jim.
No,
Doc
21 was
didn't want to do
mind-blowing.
21.
Yeah. I mean, that is a cop out. 21's a cop out, but I ended up where, I was hoping 26 and 27 wouldn't be picked. But
I'm
it's really
sorry.
good.
I wasn't even thinking, Jim. I was like, I cannot let this guy
fine.
go after Aaron. He's going to take all the.
exactly.
good
I mean,
stuff.
Aaron's just he's
He
like
can't stop.
everything. He just
Everything. Let's talk
can't
about
stop
the fight for Springfield where you've got that.
Yeah, that's one of the other things. Yeah. Thank you.
That'd be a Suscape thing to do. We're like, what's your favorite Green Lantern story? The entire Jeff Johns run. Like,
Everything.
Come on, man. That's 3 of the 5 best stories ever.
I named 2 issues and then 2 other issues.
Yeah.
Wes going first, declassified, baby.
I knew it. That's
You're
my
taking that off
favorite
the
thing.
table right away, and then you're talking about me.
Yeah.
But do you guys remember like the Battle for Springfield, like Serpentor? Like as a kid, I didn't like Serpentor in the cartoon, but in the comic, he has that great moment where he goes out in front of all the Cobra troopers, and he gives that speech where he's like, Leonidas held, Sparta against the Persians, with 300 Spartans and perished with his men. I will hold Springfield against the Joes and live. And everybody's like, Cobra. And then it kind of zooms in on him with his freaking snake slit eyes. And he's like, soldiers never change. They still love to hear the same speeches. And you're like, oh, this is a bad guy. I don't care for him at all.
So, Nando, since this was your first G.I. Joe comic book, is there something else G.I. Joe related that's your favorite? Perhaps G.I. Joe: The Rise of Cobra.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm trying to think of what would be a good example. I'd probably
Not The Rise
say
of Cobra. That's a bad movie.
Yeah. I'd probably say it would have to be. I don't know. I watched some of the cartoon, but I couldn't tell you which episodes, or anything like that. So, I think for G.I. Joe, what the best memories I had was playing with the figures.
Knowing
with
is
my
half the
brother.
battle.
And What?
The
Yeah.
other half is
Well, they
red
would-
lasers and blue lasers.
They give you the little life lesson at the end, and the guy would come out of the pool, creepy behind the kids, be like, kids, you shouldn't be swimming here. It's like, why are you underneath the water looking at kids?
Deep Six coming up, and as the kids are in their their 1980s shorts swimming in the water. And Deep Six is
The
just
Larry
out there,
Bird
like,
shorts they got on.
very sus. Deep Six.
Like,
Very
why are you down in the lake, dude?
Because wherever there's trouble, GI Joe is there. So
That's right.
There's trouble in your pants, my friend.
But I'm with you, Nando. My brothers and I, we would make elaborate forts out of GI Joes, and we
Yeah.
would make constructs and did like forts. And I accidentally stepped on like spikes that I'd put in underneath like leaves and stuff. It was great.
Yes. Yes.
Definitely some of my favorite memories as a kid. Let's hear for the people. The Baja Cat said there's no defending Peter. Doc, MJ took the deal, but Peter could have instantly said not an option. The beta had already infected his character, Doc.
Oh, I'm not saying he didn't go bitch there. I'm just saying he didn't actually take the deal. Now, he bitched out and let his wife make the call because he wasn't enough of a man under Joe Quesada, because, well, we know how much of a man he is, to actually say and put his foot down and be like, fuck no, we're not doing this shit. But, Joe's a bitch, so Peter had to be a bitch. Same way Joe got divorced, so Peter had to get divorced. And Joe's dad died of smoking, so nobody else was allowed to smoke in comics. You know what? Every fucking problem comes back to Joe Quesada.
Yeah, it's fair. That is absolutely fair. Like, you want to talk about self-inserts.
Yeah.
I was going to say
Joe-
that.
He
but I
Joe
didn't
did the
self-inserted
fight.
the entire Marvel
His
universe.
life.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Self-inserted his life. Dion says Aaron's comic books have on Amazon more reviews than DC Silencer, Batman Inc., Sword of Azrael, and Detective Comics by Ram B.
Really?
Does he
All
mean
right.
Jason Aaron or Aaron Sparrow? I assume it's Aaron Sparrow.
I would think
It's got to be me.
Sparrow.
If it's Jason Aaron, why the fuck do we care?
It's a big deal, Doc.
No, he
No,
still
there's
sucks.
a lot of really great reviews for Darkwing Duck. I think I like at the last time that I looked was like years and years ago. I think it was when we were still working on the book, and the only negative review I saw was from a lady who thought that the second trade from Joe Books was too scary for her kids because Silvani had drawn kind of a like a Mike.
That was
Mignola
actually my
kind of-
review. Aaron.
Yeah, was it really? Yeah, because she was like,
It was very
she
frightening.
was like, it's just too
I get
scary.
scared.
And then somebody responded to her, maybe I can interest you in a character named Lightwing Duck. It's like, what did you
Good
think
job,
was gonna
Aaron.
happen?
Scared the children.
Her children were sissies. It was a very tame story about potato zombies.
Potato zombies. That sounds horrifying.
Well, they did like attach to people's faces like Starro, and then like the little tuber things would go out and wrap around their heads. So maybe it was. But you know what, kids, there's things that are a lot scarier in the real world. You got to toughen them up. Potato zombies is just a step on the path.
Mr. DC Comics wants to know, has Marvel and G.I. Joe ever done a crossover? Obviously, G.I. Joe was at Marvel. Did they ever cross them over to the Marvel Universe?
I don't recall ever having
No.
a G.I. Joe Marvel crossover during their time. I think they did
certainly
do a
did
crossover
Godzilla.
They did, what's it called?
with the
what is
Nth
the,
Man.
There's also I'm gonna sound stupid, but a guy, a martial artist that actually did train with Iron Fist at one point.
I think that's the Nth Man.
Okay, is that I remember
they-
whatever it was? I can't remember. the
So it
name.
was like a
It was mentioned. I think.
transitive property
Mhm.
crossover.
And they did cross over with Transformers, which
Yeah.
crossed over with Marvel because Spider-Man was in issue 3, and I think Nick Fury was in issue 3 in a cameo where Dum Dum is saying something like, "We got to look into these robots that are, rampaging," and Nick Fury's like, "If that big green fire snorting lizard is back, I quit." And it was like, oh, they teased Godzilla there because they didn't have the Godzilla license at the time anymore, but it was still teased in the issue. That's as close as we got.
So yeah, so I think that there was an Nth Man crossover. And I think there might have been a crossover with the Nom.
That might be true.
But I'm not certain on that. I think it might have just been a very, very loose, like implied connection, but never did an actual crossover. But I think that they did one with Nth Man.
And I actually, what I was actually thinking, I just looked it up because it was Quick Kick who actually trained with Shang-Chi.
Okay.
Another thing, so
true.
yeah, that was the deal. When I was reading this issue and I was trying to I didn't realize at first that new character was a fully new character. I thought it was maybe a hint at some older character, and I was looking up some stuff as well and saw that.
Oh, that
and
risk.
Perch is in the comments, and he also did not enjoy the fight. I'm glad I didn't invest in it. I guess I was smart. Wraith X7, my favorite Joe comics are G.I. Joe Declassified and the story where Stalker, Outback, and Snowjob were trying to escape the Eastern European country.
Yes.
I do remember that I have better recollection of a lot of the cartoon. The one where Dusty ends up as fucking like a traitor. I love that episode, that story.
Yeah. No, the one he's talking about here, where they get basically Stalker, Outback, and Snowjob get left behind in what is the country? Is it? Why do I want to say Barovia? But Barovia is Ravenloft, so that's not right. But they get left behind in this Eastern European country, and they get put into a gulag. And Outback escapes. Like Stalker tells him, "Go, get out of here. You got to tell everybody what happened." And so it's this two-pronged story of like a lot of the other Joes resenting Outback, thinking that he abandoned Stalker and Snowjob, and him having to deal with that. And then of course when Snake Eyes and Scarlet and the Blind Master, when they go to get, and I think Jinx, they go to get them out. They introduce a character called the White Clown, who's really great, and his little midget sidekick. Then that guy comes back later, but there's this really touching moment where Stalker and Snowjob get back, and they come face to face with Outback, and all the Joes are like, "Oh yeah, what's going to happen?" Because they think that Outback bailed, and Stalker just like grabs him and they hug him, and it's like, then okay, it's all okay. But it's like a really poignant moment.
It's weird, like Stalker, Outback, and Snowjob that's a description of like 5 of my dates when I was in high school.
My goodness. Dion says Aaron Sparrow, of course. Yes.
Okay.
We got that. Way to go, buddy. Baja Cat. Speaking of DuckTales, Aaron, what did you think of the twist used in the reboot to introduce Negaduck in the Darkwing episode?
I mean, I liked it at the time. There's a lot of places that the show went that are kind of bothersome to me, because they did a lot of things that we wanted to do in the comic and we're told no. And then in the show, because it was a bigger deal, they were able to get that cleared with legal. So there's a little bit of like, oh man, that kind of sucks, because a lot of that stuff was stuff that we would have done. But no, I mean, I thought it was an interesting twist.
Wraith
And the fact that
X7.
they used Jim Cummings was pretty great.
Wraith X7 says, my problem with Joe comics that are not written by Larry Hama is they think Duke is the lead when the lead characters are, according to Hama, Stalker, Snake Eyes, Scarlet, and Storm Shadow.
Well, for the cartoon, he was the lead. So people that grew up with the cartoon, Duke is largely the lead. For me, Hawk is the leader of G.I. Joe and always should be. And I know he is in the book, but Hawk is like the field leader, and that's who I was introduced when I came into the G.I. Joe books. And so he's always been my guy over Duke.
I don't mind it with Duke as the lead. Certainly, this is taking more going back to the cartoons and mining that for inspiration more than the comic books.
Yeah, and you've got the Larry Hama book, so you can have both versions. You can have like a G.I. Joe, that's more cartoon based, and you've got one that's more, more the comics based. And I think that's and
fine. Chris Mooneyham's coming back to Real American Hero very, very soon, and it's going to look amazing.
I liked Pelletier on the. Is that how you say it? Pelletier?
No, Pelletier. He was a great backup.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, that's Mooneyham's back is fantastic.
And then he says, Nth Man is an awesome and underrated comic.
Absolutely. Ron Wagner art, man. Some of the best G.I. Joe art, too, was by Ron Wagner.
And then Subhuman 84. How long before Baroness turns heel in the new run? I'm giving her less than a year. You're already seeing C's played it, but Jim says he doesn't ever want her to turn heel. She just wants her to feel out of place.
Yeah. she's badass. I really like her. This sort of twist. I didn't think I would. I thought there was going to be a misplay. I actually like it. I like their interactions in this issue a lot.
I love that scene.
I want to figure her in that outfit.
I love that scene where she's like, cursing at the Joe there, and he's like, "Oh yeah," and he like curses.
And here's the thing:
awesome.
you can translate it. It's in Russian. And it's not as funny when you translate it. It's funny not knowing what they say and just going by the reactions. Because Barris is like, "How dare you!" Like she's so upset. It's like so funny. When I did translate, it's like basically, I'm gonna grab you and throw you to your parents, and they'll be upset. It wasn't great, but when you have it without translation, it's like, oh my god, what did he say? It's so cool. I
Better left unknown for your imagination.
Oh, it's good.
He speaks Russian.
Yeah,
I like that as well. But she's definitely turned on him, right, Dylan?
Yeah,
she's totally gonna.
I hope so. I want her to. I want Baroness to be bad, so I think she will, and I hope we go that route. I don't want her to be a Joe forever.
I think she'll turn by the end of the first arc.
So within the first 4 issues.
Yeah. I think it'll finish with her being the betraying the
like a mole or something.
Well, I think she'll just betray the Joes and realize that
she's a mercenary.
Going with not necessarily with Cobra, but more with Destro's means is more beneficial to her.
Very nice. We'll do this really, really quick because we did get Absolute Batman #2. It's an important book. It's probably going to be the best-selling book of the month. I know, Dylan, you like it quite a bit. I know you got a video coming out. Don't spoil too much about what you have to say, but you're saying people should be on the Absolute Batman wagon.
Yeah, I like it. I think the dumber the better. He's got a freaking dump truck Batmobile, and it's awesome. I love just like the stupidity of the book. I think it's fun. I hope it doesn't ever take itself too seriously. And I'm just seeing him wreck the party animals. It's just ridiculously huge Batman going around destroying everything. Having the stupidest gadgets is great. I love it. I'm having a lot of fun with it.
So I'm noticing that too, that the thing that really separates it from Absolute Wonder Woman and Superman is Kelly Thompson and Jason Aaron think they're writing Watchmen, and Scott Snyder knows that he's not. He's just like, fuck it.
He's writing Big Dumb Batman. He's writing Big Dumb Batman, and it feels
it's great.
Like a parody.
Yeah, and it's fun, and it's also different, which is nice compared to like some of the stuff of Superman Wonder Woman, where it feels a little bit too similar to the mainline counterparts. This actually does feel like a different Batman. I like that. Like in that first issue when he just makes the axe and cuts a dude's hand off. It's like, okay, I'm down with that.
He's Batman AF,
Yeah, I like that too. It was so cheesy, but I thought that was great. It's like advance forward. Yeah. Batman AF. I was like, all right, I'll take that. I like it.
So Sparrow, you can't turn off the editor part of your head. You're feeling a little bit different about Absolute Batman?
No, I think it's enjoyable, but I'm enjoying it in a way that like it's almost a parody of Batman. It's a big, dumb, ridiculous, like everything is just over the top and stupid, and I love it. I love how stupid it is. I don't think it should be taken seriously at all. I think the dialogue is bad. I think that but just as a fun riff on Batman, I'm enjoying it. I mean, he's like Dylan said, he's got a dump truck Batmobile. It's totally impractical, totally implausible. The logistics of it make no sense, and I don't care because it's just like whatever. It's like
Jim and I came up that he built the dump truck Batmobile in the building before he built the building and hid it there. That's the only way it could have been inside, right?
Now,
I was like, how did that happen?
It's so funny. It's like they're building a building, and they're like, where are we supposed to put this 18-foot? Like, put that in the elevator shaft. It'll go well there. They're like,
as long as you don't think about it, as long as you just go with it and you don't think about anything, it works. Like, okay, so for example, Alfred's like, we got to get out of here. I got a car out back, and Batman's like, we're in the car.
You're like,
how does Alfred not know that he's in a vehicle?
Yeah,
how did he not know that?
Yeah,
And it's
It
like,
is
don't
dark.
think about it. Don't
It
think
is
about
dark.
it. Just go
It
with
is-
the, go with the
was
ridiculousness of it.
I got
How do you
the answer.
not
They came
notice
out
the
in that thing like
steering wheel?
flat backed
It-
on? It's weird.
It's
so
dark
weird.
and Alfred's old, so
Yeah.
you know. Just,
But how did he not know that he wandered into a giant dump truck?
He's a
in a dump
mercenary. He
truck.
should know, right? He should
And
know.
how does it then get out of the building when it's like built into the bed? It's so crazy. The
And
only
he
thing.
definitely kills that cop, right? That
Oh,
cop
yeah.
is
Yeah.
standing in front
Oh
of
yeah,
him.
I sat there like he blew
What
up
about the
building with
hydrochloric
the
acid?
Hydrochloric acid.
I was like, was that supposed to be non-lethal? We're only melting people now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's just
I
it
got
was
no
just like
toes.
below the knees. They're fine.
Yeah.
They're
The
fine.
hospital is that way.
So,
Run. I can't. I have no legs.
It'll be all right.
I liked
Exactly
when
like
when
Batman.
Batman gets cornered, against the aquarium glass, and like those spikes
Oh.
come out of his back, and like the water just
That-
comes. It's like, what is happening? But
That's what I
Mario Brother
like.
power.
Looking forward to each issue is like, what absolutely ridiculous thing is he going to pull out of his suit this
Yeah.
issue? And this
There's-
one, it was spikes out the back. It's like, what's going to be next issue?
there's
And
this like really like childlike, I guess, dumb fun that Scott Snyder has with some of his stuff that I find interesting. It feels very like 90s image, just very out there. And, we're gonna make everyone big and bulky, and it's just gonna be like this huge fun little thing. But and I appreciate it for that. And I think, he did a little bit of that with the death metal stuff. It's just it
As long as
feels
he
very
doesn't go full
90s
death
to me.
metal.
Yeah,
Yeah.
death metal
Yeah.
was like to the extreme, a
Look,
little too much.
I feel like Scott Snyder, what he did was at some point he went home, he found his He-Man, he drew the Batman costume on him, and then he just started smashing it against his other toys. And that's how he got this. That's the entire plot. This is him putting He-Man in a drawn-on Batman costume and just have him
It's huge.
smashing into all of his other toys, including his Legos.
And
Yeah, as long as you don't think
talked,
about it, it's a good time.
yeah, and we talked about the dumb Batman
Art's
type
good.
deal. And when he's talking to us, the rogues gallery, his friends, and he's like just flat out telling him he's Batman, and he's this huge guy. And, hey, what do you think about them party animals? Here, I have this, and they're like, just the only thing that I liked a little less than the first issue was the idea that, hey, don't be a Two-Face, and then you
Oh,
have
yeah.
And no, we were talking
was
about that last
so
night and how
forced,
it's
yeah.
like it's like the parody that I think College Humor or Funny or Die
Okay,
did
yeah.
of the Gotham TV show, where it's like the guy says something and his buddy goes, "No, you're really kind of a joker."
yeah,
And then let that sit there for a second, and then he goes, "Actually, that was more of a riddle. I'm more of a
riddle."
Riddler." And he looks into the camera, and then he holds it for a second, then he goes, "The Riddler. I'm going to be the Riddler."
yeah, yeah.
Dum, dum, dum.
That's the-
All we needed was, Reed Richards to come in and say that this is his negative zone, and then we would have been great. It would have been a great crossover. Really
That's the
would've
only
been
stuff that has me worried for the future of it was like that Joker tease at the end
Yeah,
of issue 1.
Yeah,
And then his friend group being his rogues gallery is dumb and not really a fun way and more of
You
like
didn't
a grown
Penguin
way.
getting hit with the bin
Yeah,
and going
whack.
squawk.
Whack.
Yeah.
The only
like
thing
that.
that sucked is that Killer Croc didn't say that something was a croc. I was waiting for that.
What a crockett, yeah.
What a croc!
I don't know. We'll see how it plays out. I do think the one thing that could end up really, if they want to have long-term plans for this thing, the fact that Alfred is about 1 billion times more interesting than Bruce,
Mhm.
and it's not even close right now. And Batman's supposed to be the focus of the book, but the only character you really care about what they're doing really is Alfred, as he's watching this big, enormous idiot break stuff
Yeah.
and kill people.
And it's great that he knows.
Not kill
it.
people.
Yeah.
They're alive.
Yeah,
Just a little worse for
me and
wear.
Wes talked about it. Somebody's yelling at Les about the first issue, saying that Batman set up non-lethal explosions.
Yeah.
What are
This is,
non-lethal explosions?
but this is always the deal with Batman. Like this isn't new to Absolute.
Sounds
Like
a
Batman's
Zack
always
Snyder
been like this.
argument. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
said when we were talking about it, it's one of those where he's like, "Oh, I didn't kill anybody. Gravity killed them."
Yeah.
Well, it's like
Let them go off that building.
Alfred's
it's
like,
an
you would never
Arkham
kill
Knight.
anybody. It's like, you just watched it blow 20 people up. What are you talking
Yeah,
about?
in Arkham Knight, you drive around the city just like ramming through people with the Batmobile. And then, like, the
Yeah,
light
it
is
like it
well, there's a-
tases them first. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, okay, I understand that they got tased first, or maybe there's a force field, but it still launched them into that telephone pole. I'm pretty sure they're dead.
Well, There's literally an animation in the Arkham games where you take a car door and slam it on their windpipe as hard as Batman can, and then you turn on detective vision and it says they're incapacitated, they're fine. It's like, no, that person's dead.
He ends up with that cape that's like solid steel and ends up just hitting somebody right in the neck, and they're fine. They're fine.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm along for the ride.
No,
You
and
just
I
gotta know what it is.
I think
it's big dumb Batman, you know.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't know how many other, kind of Elseworld stories there have been where Bruce's parents, did not die. I think it's very interesting that you have the mother being alive, but
I think she's going to die soon. That
think
is my
so?
other prediction. I think she's
Yeah.
gonna die. And
Cancer.
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
the whole
really.
point about Batman is, his parents were dead, but it seems like it's more interested in the Thomas Wayne relationship and the father dying. And so, I'd like to see Bruce and Martha interact. I'd like to see that meeting and why he resents her so much, or where that drama kind of unfolds there, because it's just interesting to see a Bruce Wayne with a parent still alive. It's just you just don't see that. So.
I think she's also nailing Gordon, but that's me.
Yeah, it
I
seems
feel
like
there's
that
a
in this
relationship
issue, yeah.
Right?
there.
Gordon's
I feel like
nailing
there's
her.
something going on there. Yeah.
So,
Yes.
definitely fun. It was a good comic book week. For pound, the stuff that was good was absolutely amazing. And I think, as much as I liked Absolute Batman 2, and I did like it, I thought it was, of the stuff I'm going to recommend on Best of the Week, I thought it was the worst one. That's how good this week was.
Wow.
I think I'm with you. Yeah.
So let's get into some comic book recommendations before I wrap this up and record Best of the Week. Nandor, obviously you've still got Man-Child available on Kickstarter, link in the video description. Are there any books that you would like to recommend, or any more information that you'd like to put out on Man-Child?
Yeah, so go back, Man-Child issues 1 through 3 on Kickstarter. Check it out. Happy to plug other indie comics. I wanted to shout out a couple books that I'm backing on Kickstarter right now. One is We Are Scarlet Twilight, Countdown to the Cobalt Crisis by Benjamin W. Morris. He's one of my favorite indie comic book creators. He writes, draws, letters. He does it all. He's amazing. And anyone who likes Golden Age superhero stories, go check that out. I've read some of his other books, and he's a great creator. So support him, and then also support Jeff Morris, who's doing a comic book anthology on grief. And I would recommend, it's called True Believer on Kickstarter. And also I'm going to plug Aaron's book, because I backed Kneel Before Doomface. And so go check that out. And then also, I would say out of this week, G.I. Joe, Absolute Batman, and support your LCS. So it was a good week for comics. I'm excited to talk about all this stuff with you guys.
Very nice. Nerd says, Wes, when the hell are you going to have a stream that hits at least 4 hours talk about comics? I need this. At least have it for the Patreon. Man, 4 hour stream. That's some
4 hours
shit.
intermission.
I can't do 4 hours.
Really?
There was a time
We used to
where-
go 3.5. Doc.
Three.
We used to go 3.5, Doc, when we first started, and I was like, this is too much.
Yeah, and then we brought it back because it started at 2, and then it went to 3, and then 3.5, and we were like, this is excessive. I need to actually do things on a Saturday.
Yeah, there's only so many topics, that are even worth talking about that week. So,
what are you
but
talking
Doc
about?
and I do like a
show talking about sandwiches with
I'll
candy.
be recording
whatever,
like
man.
5
That's the
hours
good
after
shit.
this.
That's what brings people in.
Yeah.
But Doc and I, our Q&A normally goes over 2.5 hours. It gets close to 3.
So ours
Jim
is
and I,
pretty
is hot or
quick.
not, is normally well over 2.5 hours. So we get close to 3 hours. Well, you haven't quite got to 4.
Yeah,
And
you
I
get
don't
to
play
hear on that. You get to hear about my uncle pulling my pants off.
absolutely. There's about a 20-minute story there, Jim.
Yeah, I got
Jim's
I
uncle was
just going.
Jim's uncle was deep 6.
Jim's
with
our
G.I.
buffer.
Joe,
Yeah,
just down
he
there at
was
the bottom of the
deep
lake.
6, all right. Deep 5.
Yeah. And then Jim and I also do the dad corner on the Hot or Not podcast, where we talk about all the weird shit that our kids and wives have been doing this week, and all the nonsense that we have to get into being married with kids.
I'll be leaving this, and I'll be recording probably a 4 or 5 hour show when we're done here. So,
because you're crazy.
I'm an idiot.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But I do appreciate the support. But 4 hours, it's a long ass stream. Dylan, welcome back. I'm glad that you're back from New Zealand. Obviously, we talked last week. We talked this week. Are you recommending any comic books, and do you have any videos or streams people need to know about?
Yeah, I got a few comics to recommend this week. It's a pretty good week. Absolute Batman #2, like we just talked about. Batman and Robin #15, which I'm really enjoying right now. Green Lantern #17. Green Lantern's been great. G.I. Joe #1, like we talked about, and then Arcbound #1. I thought was good, not the best, but I liked the first issue. That's the Scott Snyder, what's his name, Tom Hardy comic. I enjoyed the first
Frank
issue.
Thierry.
So yeah, I thought
And
that was
Smallman. I think he's the artist.
But yeah, it's kind of
Something small.
it's like a violent Buzz Lightyear is what it made me think of. It really made me think of Buzz Lightyear. If you watch the old Buzz Lightyear cartoon, that's what this reminded me of, like a more like adult version of that. But I enjoyed it. And then I just made a video today that's out right now. Just posted today on talking about the first 2 issues of Absolute Batman, and also using the new Absolute Batman skin in Arkham Knight, because that was pretty cool. Someone made that, so go check that out.
Very nice, Mr. DC Comics. Doc, you're going to defend Marvel. Iron Man versus Lex Luthor. Who wins?
Lex. Doc ain't here, so Lex wins.
No.
Not
I'm just thinking about it. I think I do have to go with Tony at this point. I know Lex is absurdly smart, and they're probably about the same intellect level, except for his power suit is essentially just built to beat on Kryptonians, which and it's kryptonite powered, so it makes Superman weaker. It doesn't do shit to Tony Stark.
That's not true at all.
All right, Dylan, you're defending DC Comics. Who wins? Iron Man versus Lex Luthor.
Lex wins. Lex easily wins. Isn't Ironheart like smarter than Tony? Didn't they go ahead and do that whole thing? Lex is so much smarter than Tony.
And
Lex
Moon
wipes
Girl
the
is
floor.
smarter than Tony.
Yeah, everyone's
Everybody's-
smarter than Tony. And Lex, like they said, in Doomsday Clock came out and officially made it true that Lex is the smartest dude in DC Universe. He wipes the floor, Tony. And it's not like his suit isn't some special. It just depowers Kryptonians or anything. That's not true at all.
I don't think Lex has ever had his company bought out from under him the way that Tony has. So that would be how it would end. It would just end with like LexCorp now owns Stark.
Because that happens
Sparrow.
to happen at least twice a year.
Yeah.
Sparrow, you've heard the arguments. Who do you think is the winner? Is it Iron Man or Lex Luthor? Who ate the better argument?
I'm going with Lex.
Boom. There you go,
I mean,
Mr.
look,
DC.
the truth is that from a practical standpoint, Tony Stark is the hero. Tony Stark wins because that's how heroic fiction works. But I think that I think that Lex wins.
Very nice. Jose the Beast. Check out Green Lantern. Jeremy Adams is doing Green Lantern Core Series next year with Morgan Hampton and Fernando Passeron. Any thoughts? Yes, I'm exceptionally excited. Couldn't be more excited about this. More Green Lantern stuff with Jeremy Adams. I know Dylan, obviously you're with me on this one. Fernando Passeron was the artist on Flash. I don't think it'll be quite as good as what Zermanico is doing right now, but I think it'll be pretty damn good.
Yeah, I think he'll do a good job, and it's worth checking out anything Jeremy Adams does. So I'm excited.
The only problem is Morgan Hampton should be doing the backup story, and he's the guy that wrote that Cyborg.
He
So
sucks.
just ignore the backup.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I was wondering who
I do
that
that
was.
I do that with most DC books. I have a backup. I generally I'm good.
Absolutely. But
You
I'm
gotta
so
hit that
clear for that.
$4.99 price tag. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to be here for that. It's going to be awesome. We're going to have fun. Nerd says, majority of the time you guys get into real deep topics, it gets cut short for time so often. I just want a bi-monthly deep dive stream.
Oh.
You know, if
I don't know. I feel like we
have
take
his
all the
chicken-
meat off the bone. I mean, obviously Doc could talk forever about everything, but somebody's got to keep him alive.
No,
Yeah.
you always got to bail to go get your chicken nuggies. So that's the meat.
Yeah.
that you're
It's-
interested
I
in.
got dinner time is happening right now, but you know, there's only so many times that work for all of us. So, I get it. You know, we literally could talk about these topics for 8 hours because you know we do have a bunch of nerds on the show.
Yeah.
But I do
want
want things. Yeah, I do want things to be a little bit more managed. Once you start getting up to 5 hours, you don't even know where to show up or when. But I will keep it under consideration. I do appreciate the support. Who else we got here? Aaron Sparrow. Obviously, you showed up to the big Skybound G.I. Joe showing of the movie. You got the comic book, $800 sitting right next to you as long as you don't get any water damage. Are you recommending any books? And obviously, you've got Neil before Doomface. Link the video description.
Yes, and we actually picked up a few new backers while we were on the stream here, so thank you guys for that. We were like at 12,422, I think. So we're getting close to the 13,000 level, which closing in on it, which will unlock the Doomface sticker for everybody. So thank you for all your support. Please continue to spread the word, even if you can't support the book. Word of mouth is absolutely essential. So appreciate you guys. So this week, obviously it's going to come as no surprise. I'm going to recommend Green Lantern because Jeremy Adams is killing it. I had somebody on Twitter be like, "I don't like this sad lantern thing. I think it's dumb." And I'm like, just
don't even see him this week.
Let him cook. Let's see where it goes. Like you introduce a concept, you got to give it some time. So I think that Jeremy's killing it, obviously. And then obviously my big recommend of the week is G.I. Joe #1 because it is absolutely phenomenal.
And Jose to Beast says Mr. Sparrow met Jeremy, and that's awesome. And there's pictures out there on the probably on Instagram as well as the Twitter sphere.
That's right.
Did you guys see, not to derail this, did you guys see the Jon Stewart statue that they put up in Burbank,
Yeah.
I think? That was pretty dope.
Yeah, it's pretty
Jeremy
cool.
Adams with Jim Lee and
Yeah.
Sheridan Gay.
For a second there, I thought you meant the guy from The Daily Show. I'm like, why do we care?
No. Jon
But
Stewart,
he's in the
Green
Green
Lantern.
Lantern. It's Jon Stewart from The Daily Show in the Green Lantern costume. So
Yeah,
it's
there you go.
crossover.
So he's like also 5'2".
Yes.
Yeah. All right, Jim, you've got Dirty Socks coming up. You got videos about to be released. What comic books do you recommend, and what should people be looking out for?
Green Lantern. I have read it. I hadn't read it when we were talking
That's
our
true.
show at that
Was
point.
it
I
as good
did
as I
love
saw
it.
it?
Yeah, it's great. Batman and Robin, #15. G.I. Joe #1, and a surprise pick, which I also went and read, and I'm just picking it because probably will never have her as a pick, Psylocke #1 by Alyssa Wong. I'm going to throw it out there because it's better than what she usually gives us.
No,
Jim,
it's
have
not.
you, Jim?
No, it's not.
I have a very, very serious question. Jim,
I'm on medicine.
I was
He's
gonna
busy.
I
He's
was
busy.
not the
He's
Ricketts.
busy.
I was going to ask if you suffered a severe head trauma.
I have a stroke. God. No,
Okay, that explains
it's
it.
one of
All right.
those we're never going to be able to recommend an Alyssa Wong comic, and so I didn't mind it. I thought it was okay.
If you're looking for a Psylocke book, it's terrible. If you're looking for generic superhero lady doing very bland things with a couple of decent
Asian
faces,
stuff.
you're right.
Calm down. I also want to recommend Kneel Before Doomface, which I did back during the show. So, Aaron, you shut your mouth.
Yeah.
Your dirty
Play
mouth.
nice. Play nice.
All of Jim's opinions are amazing, and
And
I agree with all
yeah,
of them.
right.
I will defend Jim on this one. I don't think the setup in Psylocke is all that particularly good or compelling. The art's good, and the story itself is perfectly serviceable.
It's
The art is
serviceable.
occasionally
I
good.
said it's serviceable, and we're
Yeah.
never going to be able to say that much. So, I went for it.
There we go. All right, Doc. Are you also going to be recommending Psylocke #1 this week?
No, I am.
No.
I am not. But I will. Hold on. See, I will recommend that you all go and listen to our review on Doc Unfiltered of Amazing Spider-Man 61. When that comes out, when does that come?
It'll be
Tomorrow
out
morning?
on the Patreon tomorrow at 10:30 a.m. Eastern, and then the video will be out on YouTube on Monday.
All right. So then we will go with, we were talking about this the other day. This Amazing
not a
Spider-Man
cover.
36. Yeah, it's just a black cover.
Ripping
And
off
this is-
Metallica.
Yeah, this is the 9/11 one, where for some inexplicable reason, like 2 months before Magneto like rips down all of the bridges in Manhattan, he's crying putting them up because reasons. And Doctor Doom's all sad about 9/11. So as a inside the Marvel Universe issue, it's fucking terrible, but it's got a lot of really good pinups and stuff in it, and it's a pretty good issue. Then we will go with G.I. Joe #1 because I am recommending a new comic. That should be all that you need to know at this point. I am recommending a new comic that came out this week, not just a new comic that I bought. It actually came out this week, and I read it immediately. Well, sort of
on stream.
Yeah, actually on stream. I finished the book on stream while you guys were talking about stuff that I wasn't really paying attention to. I read it. It's really fucking good. So go grab it. I you know what? They had some of the variants. I just wanted the A cover.
Yeah.
Honestly, most of these variants with the iconic poses, and half of them are virgin variants, and you don't even know what fucking comic you're reading or looking at when you pull it out of a box. You're like, what fucking comic? What even is this? So yeah, just the A cover. We need to stop supporting the variant movement or the variant schemes anyway. So, and then, as we were talking about before, I highly recommend this. It's Pride of Baghdad, Brian K. Vaughan, Nico Henriken. So really, really good. Let's see if I can.
Oh man,
Good page, lots of lions.
that's pretty.
I know, right?
Line pull.
Yep. So I will recommend that. And then finally, since if you have an Ollie's near you,
She'll fix it.
these showed up, and it's actually a really, really, it's a hefty fucking action figure. And for like, I think it was $15 at my Ollie's. And I think
need to send you some money, Doc, because I need a second one of those to make Blockbuster from this.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Chuck Dixon Nightwing run.
I bought a second one yesterday, so I took one of them out of the box. All the rest of my toys are still in the fucking packaging. But I bought one yesterday. I'll pick another one up for you. They had a bunch of them. They because I also have that Squadron Supreme Nighthawk and Blur.
I knew that was going to end up there too. I didn't buy it, and I was like, Doc, when this shows up at Ollie's, grab it for me, because I knew it was going to go there, and sure enough.
Yeah, the Hyperion and Dr. Spectrum one didn't. That 2-pack, but there's still time. So that is my recommendations for you. So Ollie's, so discount bin, back issue, other back issue collected book, and a new comic. You got the most well-rounded recommendations from me that you've had in quite a number of years.
We don't do a whole lot of new comic recommendations for Doc, so that's a huge win.
Yep.
That's your Odin.
This came while we were streaming. People that were watching probably watched me unpackage it like while you guys were talking. So the Odin's great, and then if we're recommending toys, I also picked up this week, and it is spectacular, which is the Danny Ketch Ghost Rider, and he's got a great little thing that you can put under there so that he is doing a perpetual wheelie.
Oh, so, is he in a wheelchair?
Oh, no. They also had a bunch of the. I got one of the Bucky Barnes Captain America Legends figures.
Oh, nice! That was a Walmart exclusive. I need that one too.
You want me to grab you one?
Please do. Yeah,
we'll do.
Let me know.
All right, fellas.
All right.
You do your drug deals behind the scenes. I do want to say thank you very much to everyone for joining me. And certainly thank you very much to all the viewers for all the prayers and good thoughts. With the storm coming through, we turned out just fine. It went north like we had hoped. We got on the outskirts of it. We ended up not getting any damage really here. Unfortunately, there are a lot of people that are being affected right now. If you could keep them in your thoughts and prayers as well, really appreciate that. But the Thinking Critical family here in the Philippines, we are doing very, very well. And I don't know what else to say. We had a great Saturday here. Lots of fun. And